Sponsored by Great White Hot Sauce. It's a small batch, handmade hot sauce made especially for you. You can find it at www.trygreatwhite.com. It's also sponsored by South Florida Allied Health, located in Boca Raton, Florida, specializing in men's health, women's health, medical weight loss, IV therapy infusion, testosterone therapy, and hormone replacement therapy. Florida residents only. Well, here we are, episode 94. And on this episode, I have Mark and Lou from the Music Relish podcast. We're going to be talking about, what was that with my voice? Jesus Christ. Let me start that again. On this episode, we're going to be talking about Steely Dan. And we're going to continue the list. What is wrong with my voice? We're going to do that list. Last live performances, whatever it's called. It's an endless list. So we're going to do all that. Should be a good show. Lots of information, I'm sure. God, I got to go do something with my voice. Enjoy the show.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
The KOFB studio presents Milk Crates and Turntables, a music discussion podcast hosted by Scott McLean. Now, let's talk music. Enjoy the show.
Thank you, Amanda, for that wonderful introduction as usual. Welcome to the podcast. Yeah, I got my voice back. I have my man's voice back. My manly voice. Not that puberty-ridden 16-year-old voice that I had in the intro. I don't know what the hell happened there. But I'll tell you, it's not going to happen again. So what's up, everybody? We're streaming live right now over, here we go, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, DLive, and a whole bunch of others, I think. I know it's at least those. And we stream, see, there it is again. What the? Jeez, maybe I need some I need some more testosterone shots. Jesus Christ. I don't know what's happening. Hold on while I share this on my, I'm just sharing, putting something out there to connect with the people. All right, enough of that. Yeah, so tonight, Mark Smith and Lou Colicchio from the Music Relish podcast will be joining me. Like I said last week, they are now doing a residency. I am the only podcast out in the podcast sphere that has a residency. This podcast is that important. That important. I created a residency. Yeah. I don't know when it's going to end, though. That's the thing. It's an endless residency. Yeah. You know what else is endless? Lou Colicchio's music knowledge. What's up, Lou?
Hey, Scott. How are you?
Enough of that. No. You only get a little bit this week. I don't want to get your ego built up. What's up, Lou?
I'm good. I'm doing great. How are you, man? Good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It is good to be here. Yeah.
Always.
Everything okay?
Everything doing good, yeah. Got home, got to rush into the podcast, but that's the life of a working man at this point. And,
okay.
But I'm eager to do it. It's always fun.
Are we missing somebody here?
Where'd he go?
I don't know. I think neither one that was tormenting me 2 weeks ago. I do hold a grudge, don't I? Yeah.
He's in pre-penalty box.
He's in the penalty. As soon as the podcast started, he's in the penalty. Look he's in the green room giving me the finger.
He
just got another 30 seconds in the box.
There you go.
As long as that finger, it's getting a minute. Now
Thanks,
he gets
Mark.
a minute. Now he's sticking the fingers up his nose. What the hell? Mark Smith, what's up, buddy?
I was merely just putting my finger on my chin, listening to you.
Yeah.
Man, puberty sucks, doesn't it, Scott?
What the
There he
hell
goes,
was
there he
that all
goes.
about? I gotta get some more. Like I said, some extra boost of testosterone. Get my shit together here. Shit together.
You do have a sponsor.
I do. Yes, and they do testosterone therapy.
Perfect.
Yeah. I'm gonna get 2 shots tonight.
One in each cheek.
It's my wife.
That's better. All the better.
Yeah. So, hey, if you notice, I'm wearing a hoodie.
Yeah. Is it cold down there?
Little chilly in Boca Raton. It's
Is it 75
It's gonna be 60. It's gonna be 60. Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
I got the fireplaces going. 2. I told you that right.
Do
2
you really?
fireplaces. I do. I grew up in Boston.
Yeah, man, I know.
I've been all over. I didn't have one fireplace. Never had a fireplace in my life. Never. It was like, what the hell, And then we buy this house, and it's got 2 fireplaces, and I'm in South Florida.
In Florida.
Tell me where that makes sense, but I'll tell you what, man. Around the holidays, the ambiance is beautiful around.
It always is.
Yeah, I get them Duralogs going, buddy, and it's real. It's not a gas fire. These are real fireplaces.
It's got a flue.
Yeah.
I know a lot of places down here have fireplaces, but they don't keep up with the flue. So every time you go to see one, they block them up because you can't use them. That stuff will burn the creosote, whatever.
Yeah. I've seen a friend of mine has a fireplace, doesn't use it.
Yeah.
Up in Boston. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Doesn't use it. It's like, nah, it's too expensive to get it fixed or whatever goes wrong with it.
Get all that shit cleaned out.
Yeah. Unlike Mark Smith, he uses a trash can.
With his hands over it.
Yeah.
Fingerless
the trash
gloves.
can in the front of his house.
Selling
He goes out
Christmas
there
trees.
with the fingerless gloves,
No. I use the Dinty
metal
Moore.
cup?
The Dinty Moore can. That's what I use.
Yes, that's the
Hobo.
redneck sterno. Redneck sterno.
We
There's a
heat up the
Dinty Moore
Dinty
can.
Moore, and then
Yeah. So tonight, interesting night. This is a very interesting group, a duo. Are they a group, right? Or are they a duo?
Yeah.
Are they a group?
They were a duo. They wouldn't be
They
together
started
anymore, and they still are together.
They started as a group. They were actually a true group.
Yeah.
3 albums about, but then
Steely
Dan was
Steely Dan. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing about them though is, unlike musical duos, they kind of did their own thing at one point in time after 1980, right? Gaucho was their last kind of, and then they broke up for the first time, I think maybe
about 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Those two actually like each other. They actually liked being around each other. They, you could see it in interviews too. Like I always reference the Eagles documentary. There's a scene, the one that's like, I don't know, it's like 3 hours long or something.
The history of the Eagles.
Yeah. And there's one scene I'll never forget when I watched it. I was like, oh boy, it says everything. You got Glenn Frey and what's his name? Drummer. I cannot.
Don Henley.
Don Henley, yeah. They're in the limo and they ask Don Henley a question and he answers the question. Then they ask Glenn Frey a question. He starts going on. And you see Don Henley just kind of looking out the window like really not paying attention to him, like, here we go again, like this guy. But I always thought Don Henley had to stick up his ass anyways. He has this like pseudo-intellectual attitude. Sting. Like Sting.
Self-serious.
Yeah, self-serious. Like
Very self-serious,
yeah, you never see really Don Henley smile or laugh in an interview. He's always serious and he tries to be, comes across like, look at me, I'm wicked smart. I know he's talented. I don't not like the guy. I don't not like
Right, but yeah, absolutely. Well, there's that Mojo Nixon song, Don Henley Must Die.
Yeah.
Don't let him get back together with Glenn Frey.
And Don Henley said he liked the song, so he has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
I don't think, I bet he didn't like it at first. He's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Serious artist.
Well, let me tell you, the ironic thing is I used to think Glenn Frey was kind of an asshole because he never looked happy on stage. Then I
Yeah.
found out years later he had arthritis. The poor guy was just in pain all the time. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. Him and Phil Collins. Fuck them.
By the way, I don't know how true it is, but I heard that Phil
Sharon Hall,
Collins
right?
is totally immobile now. He can't even
Really?
walk anymore. Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
That tour had to put a strain on him. I mean, even though
Sure.
he performed in a chair, but he was traveling and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, he fell off the
Oh.
chair at one show.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah. There was a video of it.
I
He
don't want to
fell
see
off
that.
the chair. Yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
So
Why am I laughing? I'm sorry.
that was. I mean, it's a fast decline. I mean, nothing. I mean, I'm an admirer. You know,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways.
I told you my story when they did the charity down in Miami, and they were like took all everybody's money, and then at the end, the very end, they're like, "Oh, sorry, he can't come out." Then he comes out with his son, his little son, as a human shield.
Who's his drummer now, or was
Lost
the
a
drummer?
lot of. No, this is his other from another
Oh, okay.
marriage or something. He was a little kid, you know, but his son did play during that fundraiser, and he was very good.
Yeah,
He was very good.
that was good.
So Donald Fagen was quoted once as saying he's incapable of finishing a song, and Walter Becker is incapable of starting one. Right?
I love that.
What does that tell you?
The yin yang, you know, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Where do you rank them in duos, in rock duos?
As far as like Jagger Richards, Lennon McCartney.
You could go Hall and Oates. You can go down the line.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they're well up there. They're way up there. I mean,
They have to be, right?
Yeah, I do think so. They were called the best '70s rock and roll anti-heroes because they were a rock band, but they were just different. I mean, Do It Again, their first single was like, you didn't hear anything like that before. It was totally out of left field in a lot of ways, but
They
were rock.
Yeah, they were hippies in a sense. They looked like kind of hippie, but they didn't have like a hippie attitude when it came to their music.
No,
when it came to their music,
they were almost what they call long hairs. The long hairs were the old hip jazz musicians. So they said they had jazz and they like black jazz and white pop, and they tried to put that together.
That's what Hall and Oates did.
Mm-hmm.
Except they did it with soul.
Yeah,
right? They didn't
Soul.
do jazz.
Yeah.
Blue-eyed soul type stuff. Yeah,
Blue-eyed Philadelphia soul. That was their whole sound origin. Yeah,
which is where Bowie got his blue-eyed soul.
Young Americans.
Young Americans. You know, again, as I always say, that I think that it's my favorite album by him. I can't say it's his best album. That's pretty hard to say, but it's definitely in the top 3 best albums. But I think it's an underrated album by him. I think Ziggy Stardust gets all the credit, then maybe Diamond Dogs, and then Young Americans. But if you go back, I've said this 100 times on this podcast. Go back and listen to that album. It is so fucking good.
Yeah,
such a great album, Young Americans. Really was. So Steely Dan broke out. Their first, what was this? So their first writing credit. Who gave them their first writing credit?
They were Brill Buildings songwriters,
right?
I'm not looking at my computer here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mark?
I did know this. No, I'm not going to find it on the Wikipedia page fast enough. Who?
The one and only Barbra Streisand.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the
Wow.
song?
I Mean to Shine in 1971 on her album. Was it Barbara Jones Streisand or something? Yeah. Also, on that album, there were songs written by Carole King, Bacharach and David, and even, I guess, John Lennon, too. Had a song for her on that album.
I'll have to track that album down and listen to it.
Yeah.
Is that the one that has Stony End on it? Her first big single.
I wouldn't know. I don't know. I don't know. But Steely Dan, they weren't Steely Dan back then, I don't think. They were Becker and Fagen, right?
They might have wrote that a couple of years before that she did that cover, because I think they did some touring too, but they were late '60s songwriters. There were rewriters too. They used to rewrite songs for people.
Really?
You know, yeah, someone had like some material. They would not so much rearrange it. They would probably add a lot to it, but they did rewrites, which back then I never heard that until I read about them.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you take someone's song and you throw your own lyrics. I don't think that gives you a copywriter. I'm sure it does, but
Yeah. So what would you consider? What's your favorite, Lou? What's your favorite? I think we covered this already. Let's say, what would your favorite album be by them?
Okay. I'm thinking I'm going to say Asia. I think Asia.
Asia?
Yeah.
What's your favorite song by them?
It's on Asia. It's Deacon Blues.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It's a great song. And Mark, Bernard Purdie is the drummer on that song.
Bernard Purdie shows up everywhere.
Mark has met Bernard Purdie, who claims to he claimed to have played on some early Beatle tracks or some stuff with the Beatles. We talked about him on Music Relish a couple times, quite a few times, because he's a running joke with us. Like, if there's a missing drummer somewhere, it's Bernard Purdie. Like, he played in my band. When
yeah, he's on a lot of albums. Like,
but,
very nice guy.
He is the inventor of the Purdie Shuffle, which is all that Rosanna. What's that Zeppelin song? Fool in the Rain.
Yeah.
That's all based upon Bernard Purdie's Shuffle. So
yep. And if you haven't heard the isolated drum track of John Bonham is playing on Fool in the Rain, find it on YouTube, because if anyone ever says, well, he was good, but he was basic, listen to Fool in the Rain. That's not basic drumming. That is fantastic drumming. You just don't hear it because it's so low, like the mix, but look that up.
Yeah, but that's Bonham playing unlike anything he did on a lot of that early Zeppelin stuff too.
I think it was Bernard Purdie playing it. That's why.
Wait, I'm sorry. You said Fool in the Rain? I'm sorry. Was it what?
Yeah, Fool in the Rain.
Say what?
Fool in the Rain.
That's Bonham. That's not Bernard Purdie.
I was joking.
Oh, okay. Oh, I got.
Lou missed the whole joke.
I didn't fall for the joke.
He was. Sorry. Lou missed that whole thing. I was with you, Mark. I caught that.
Put me in the green room.
No, put me in the green room.
Yeah. Lou's like, hey, wait a minute. What song was it? Whoa, where'd that joke go? What was that?
He made a factual inaccuracy. This is highly irregular.
Yeah, I just changed the screen in case you're looking.
What's the album that has any major dude on it?
That was Katie. It was either Katie Light or Pretzel Logic.
Might be Pretzel Logic.
Yeah. Yes, because it comes right after, I think, Ricky Don't Lose That Number, which is the opening cut on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Mark, favorite album?
Favorite album is Asia, my favorite. And I think in terms of sound, because I love the sound of a mix and everything. I think it's one of the best sounding albums ever made.
It is. Yeah, it really is.
And I knew you were going to ask me my favorite song, and so I came up with a list of like 20 songs. I'm stumped. I mean,
name them off.
Lately, all right, I'll name them all. These are like my favorite.
We got to go 2 hours. We got to keep it. We got to keep it consistent.
Okay, so
we got all night.
So let me read it real slow. Okay, Ricky, don't lose that. Don't lose that number. That's just that's the
favorite?
First song that hooked me. No, my absolute favorite theirs is probably either Josie or Don't Take Me Alive. That's always been one of my.
That's a great song.
Favorites. Yeah. It's just so hard. And the thing with Steely Dan is it's every time I listen to them, I just like a different period of their music. Probably my least favorite album may be their first album, because what came after those pop songs was so much better, in my opinion. I can't listen to that whole first album the same way,
But those two singles are killer.
They had 3 big songs off that first album.
Do It Again, Reelin' in the Years, and Dirty Work.
Yeah.
Now, what's unusual about Dirty Work?
Michael McDonald sang it? No, not Michael McDonald. Who was the other singer?
David Palmer.
David Palmer. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he I think that was their attempt at having a conventional singer, but he wrote the lyrics to Jazzman by Carole King.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Good,
I think that's all you can find on him, maybe somewhere. But
so how long was he with them? He was with them for what? One album?
2 albums.
2 albums.
It was 2.
He's on a couple tracks on Countdown to Ecstasy, but Donald Fagen was being encouraged to sing more. Like
Yeah.
he was very unsure of himself.
Yeah.
And if he hadn't been encouraged to sing, who knows what path that they would have taken as a
Right.
band.
I think they would have been. I think they would have been okay because musically
Somehow,
and
yeah.
you know, in songwriting skills and production, and I think they would have been fine. But it's always good to have a unique voice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, in behind your music, especially when it works like that works.
Yep.
He always sounds to me like he has a lisp.
And he's whining.
There's certain songs where he sounds like this.
Well, if you look at him, look at his mouth. It does look like, the way, yeah.
I think, yeah, and I swear, I'll point it out to you. I can't think of it offhand, but there's one or two songs I picked that out. It sounds like this. I don't know.
Be more Pacific.
Yeah.
The song do it. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, though, my favorite songs, like I said, Caves of Altamira. They're so deep. Caves of Altamira. Kid Charlemagne because of the solo and the guitar sound. I think that's Larry Carlton, right, Lou? On that
Could
song.
Could very well be, yeah.
The Fez, Babylon Sisters, Hey 19, going right up to the end. The Two Against Nature album, the great song about kissing cousins, Cousin Dupree. I mean, they had some sick lyrics too in their day. Really sick lyrics.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, so when Steely Dan found out about the plot for the movie You, Me, and Dupree, right, with Owen Wilson, Donald Fagen was pissed.
Really?
Yeah, he was pissed, and he wrote a letter demanding that Owen Wilson come to one of their concerts so their roadies can beat him up.
Wow.
Yeah.
He already had his nose broken.
Didn't like it. Yeah.
How far did he take anything from that song for the movie, or did he just use the word Dupree?
I think there's got to be something else in there. There's got to be
tie
something else in there.
Into a lyric, yeah.
That's tied to that. And otherwise, why would Donald Fagen get so upset over it? There's something in there. There's something that they didn't really. I didn't get the detail of it, but so. You had mentioned like Kid Charlemagne. See, that was the thing about Steely Dan. They weren't afraid to address like certain topics.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They would go right at them. So, okay. So you had Steppenwolf did The Pusher, right?
Yeah.
Was that the name of the song, The Pusher?
Yes.
So you had that kind of dressing like the drug dealer, but they went right after it with Kid Charlemagne.
Yeah.
Like they went right after it. That's all, I guess, like a true story. Like everything they put in there was kind of based on that guy, right? Now, some say that that's about Timothy Leary.
Right.
I've heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
But evidently there was a dealer named Kid Charlemagne. He called himself Kid Charlemagne, evidently. Now, I could be wrong on this because sometimes you get these little factoids and you don't really know where they come from. But either way, that was a great, I mean, what a great story.
Yeah.
Right? They bring you right through the whole thing from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
And the lyrics are just the way they wrote was just extremely clever.
Is there gas in the car? Is there gas in the car? That's one of the most bizarre lines. Like I always said, did he just run out of lyrics? Is there gas in the car?
No, but you know what I love? The beauty.
You
know who did stuff like that on a totally unrelated topic was the Notorious B.I.G.
Mm-hmm.
Little details. When he rapped, when he told a story, he could put you right in it. That's what made him so great, right? He could put you right in the story. And there's the little details that he would throw in there just to kind of tie it all together.
Yeah.
And when I heard that for the first time, is there gas in the car? Is there gas? In other words, like, fuck, like we got to get the fuck. Did you put gas in the car? Like, is it like, are we going to get stuck here? Because they're ready to fucking kill us.
Yeah.
We're ready to get fucking beat up, brought to jail. Like, we got to get, is there gas in the car? Like, the things, I love that line.
Yeah.
I thought it was such a nice detail.
It sounds like a line they might have heard in a movie.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, some getaway movie like The Heist or something, where it's like,
yeah. Did you put
that you were Italian in their eyes?
Yeah.
There's weird shit in there.
Yep. Yep. And like you had in they had my favorite song by them. I think I've already said this. Royal Scam. And basically, what that is, that's like telling the false lore of America. And when I say the false lore of America, it's basically like people think they're going to come over here and literally money is everywhere.
Yeah.
And you're going to get, well, not to get into today's politics where everybody gets money. It's true. But
I got money.
I got a couple bucks on me.
I didn't get mine.
I got $5. I just dropped all my money. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And like Home at Last kind of works around Homer's Odyssey, right? And the crazy life, the touring life and Pretzel logic of an artist,
Yeah.
But I'd say Royal Scam is just, to me, again, that's my favorite song. But you named a few. What is it?
Well, yeah, because I went through what I did.
Don't Take Me Alive. Don't Take Me Alive. Is that what it is?
I love that. That's got such a groove to it. It's such
what's the line in there? I'm a pool cleaner's son. Something like that.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Right. Don't Take Me Alive. Yeah.
It just, I'm looking at the chords and everything, and it's just such a good groove.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. You know what song disturbs me?
What's that?
Everyone's Gone to the Movies. That's what I don't want to think I know what it's about.
Is it the lyrics? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either about two teenagers that are alone, or it's about an adult that's alone with a teenager.
I got the feeling that was the lyrics.
I think it's the latter. I think
everyone's in the other room and
it's
on
creepy.
my lap, and yeah.
So on that note,
on
that note, Hey 19 is basically the same. It's along the same lines.
Yeah.
That's supposedly about a guy who meets this young girl, and like says she doesn't know who Aretha Franklin is, right? Basically, you don't know. I can't dance with you. I can't dance with you at all. But he's trying to work it, and he gets that Cuervo Gold, and
the Fine Colombian.
Yeah, the Fine Colombian, which is so. Some people say that's coke. Some say it's weed. I believe it's weed because at that time, Colombia used to be a big weed producer.
Yeah.
And then when cocaine came along, the weed got pushed to the side. And they're like, now we're moving. And so you figure that song came out in what? 71? 72?
1980.
80?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 80. All right.
From Gaucho.
Oh, I was thinking, yeah. So
it was also the time of Panama Red.
What's that?
Panama Red and Acapulco Gold.
Acapulco Gold,
and Colombian,
Yeah, and then don't forget the good old tie stick. The sticky icky.
Yeah. $100? Are you kidding me? What am I buying? Blow? Come on. What is this?
I was
shit?
never a big weed guy. I never liked the weed. Never, just couldn't.
I'm an anomaly. I listen to Dead, and I don't smoke weed.
Oh, Jesus! Yeah.
I drink wine, though.
So everybody knows where the name Steely Dan came from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
The Naked Lunch.
William
Burroughs.
Right?
Burroughs, yeah.
William Burroughs, Naked Lunch with the Steely Dan 3 steam-powered apparatus. Yeah.
Dildo.
There you go. You said it.
Look up the origin of that word. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, right. I don't know, but I think it's funny when someone gets called that. I always thought that was amusing.
You dildo. Come on, man.
Fucking dildo. Dumb as a dildo.
And then you can think of it as a Clockwork Orange.
Now you're getting into the really strange shit right there.
There's a scene. There's a giant dildo phallus.
That's right. Yep.
Oh, I forgot about that movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Couldn't be made into a movie. Couldn't.
It's a hard watch.
Yeah.
So they finally made it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? And it was pretty much like was it within the last 10 years?
Becker was still definitely
more. Wow. I mean,
Let's see.
I would think that did they get in on their first shot at it? Because I think they should have.
Probably not.
So
no one gets in on the first shot.
Well,
Let's see.
1972 plus 25.
Steely Dan
97?
inducts the 2001, so it's
Okay.
20 something years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they got in probably right when they were supposed to. I
Yeah.
think. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was earlier than. I mean, it was later than that. But
They would be hard to deny. I think, given their whole reception, even critics, they're even if they could find things they didn't like, overall, they found things in there that they were just interesting and unique about them.
yeah. Became millennials kind of caught on to Steely Dan. Yes. So
Yes, that's true. They're hip.
Do you remember the scene in Breaking Bad where Walter's at the breakfast table with Skyler and Walter Jr.? He's trying to relate musically to him. He's like, Walter, or whatever, Jr., Steely Dan, great musicians, fantastic playing, great. And then he doesn't give a fuck. And then he goes, Boss Skaggs. And Skyler goes, Boss Skaggs? But he's just not hearing any of it. The kid's like, Steely Dan. He's like, whatever, shut up.
yeah.
The millennials should catch on. I mean, the millennials like a lot of jazzy stuff. The ones I know in Asheville, given the Cafe Society and all that, it's they like the jazzy stuff. So I would think a lot of Steely Dan would be very appealing. Besides, it's just, in our opinion, they're just so friggin' good. They were just, I don't know.
I like Steely Dan because I like jazz. So it's like the perfect melding of rock and jazz, and that can go horribly wrong. And it went perfect with them. But did you ever meet a Dan hater? I've met a few in my life, and the people that don't like Steely Dan, whoa, they just go off on him. I'm like, why?
Really?
Just don't listen to him. If you, I don't get it. But I've met quite a few in my life.
I don't know if I've ever met anyone that didn't like them.
Must
That's
be a Jersey thing.
I've met people who are indifferent, but I don't think Perry likes them.
Well, okay.
there has to be a song. Well, those people have never heard a Steely Dan album. They heard their singles that probably got drilled into their head, or their parents liked it maybe. But I mean, listen to some of those album cuts that we just discussed. I mean,
Deep album cuts. Yeah,
you'd be surprised, man.
They have, I just want to say good evening to my buddy and friend of the show and fellow music lover, king of the 45s, Dave Phillips. Welcome to the show, my friend. Can you find a better greatest hits album?
Maybe.
It's
Squeeze.
a 2-record set,
Maybe
right?
Squeeze.
I believe it's a 2-record set.
Oh.
That and Squeeze's greatest hits are two of my favorite greatest hits.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know what else is a greatest hits album? Elvis Costello.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah.
Greatest hits album. You know what one of my favorite greatest hits albums is? In Bananarama. I love it. I do.
Rosanna Dan and Panorama.
I have
How
the
many
album.
hits did they have?
I don't know. They had Robert
Two.
De Niro's Calling. They had Summertime, Cruel Summer. They had Venus. They had like five. They had like five. Listen, I always say if you get 5 songs off an album, it's a winner.
Yeah, absolutely. 5 good songs.
It's a winner. No, I just always like Bananarama. I don't know why. I always like it. It's a good greatest. Very light.
Yeah, it's great. It's great ear candy pop in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
And sometimes
on my playlist.
it's like sugar. I mean,
right.
I mean, sugar. It's like, come on, it's ear candy, but it's more well crafted than people may realize.
How come no one ever remade that song?
Otis was it?
Sugar.
No, someone did.
Someone did. Really?
It was was it Otis Redding? Yeah, he did. I think it was Otis Redding did something, or no, Wilson Pickett.
Wilson Pickett.
Yeah.
Now, sugar. We're talking sugar.
Yeah, the best bubble
sugar, you are my candy girl. I mean, he did a great version of it. Totally different. Dave Phillips mentioned the Rascals' greatest hits. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I said this before. I'm a self-admitted late comer to 60s music because I ignored it.
Right.
I didn't like it. It made me feel uncomfortable for a lot of years. For whatever trauma I had in my childhood that made me not really like. I like select. Yeah. You know what? I put a clip of the other day on Facebook. What is it? Who sings it? I'm a friendly stranger in a black sedan. I want you
The
up
Ides of
inside
March.
my car. Huh?
That's the Ides of March.
The Ides of
Beautiful.
March. Yeah.
Which is today.
That's right.
Today's
See,
the
Horse
I knew
season.
that. See, I knew that. See, I brought that up on purpose because I knew that.
It was a Zeitgeist thing. It was it was that in the air, the collective unconscious.
Look at Lou getting
Damn.
deep.
Getting
Going
existential
deep.
on our asses here.
He doesn't have that in his fucking notebook, does he? That's all rolling around in his dome.
Pull that out of my ass, yeah.
Whoa. Let's get a little woes in there.
Whoa,
That's
whoa,
not a good
whoa.
mental image, Lou. So let's
No,
leave it
it's
in
never-
there.
it never
It's
is.
never
Sorry.
a good, yeah. That's never a good mental image.
Let's rewind.
So give me some of the great studio musicians other than wasn't what's his name, Skunk Baxter? Wasn't he like original member?
Original member, yeah.
Yeah. Talk about a career that guy had.
Do you know what he does now?
That's
Yeah.
Lou blew my
NASA.
mind when he told me.
Yeah. NASA. He's a isn't he?
Missile defense. He's a defense.
He designs software, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's
For
with the
missile
Pentagon,
defense.
actually, right? Yeah.
I think he's a private one now, but he's testified. He's testified before Congress and stuff. But yeah, he found algorithms in music recording technology that he somehow managed to apply to defense things and how terrorists use unusual means of committing their acts. Totally out of left field, man. So he was no dummy to
great
begin
mind.
with.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
Well, evidently neither was Walter Becker. Walter Becker was evidently a really, really someone was interviewed. They said he was just smarter than most human beings.
Really one of those, yeah.
I guess he was just really, but he had a kind of a dark sense of humor too, like a biting sense of humor. I
bet.
But they said he was a nice guy. He lived the perfect rock star life. He could be the rock star sitting next to Donald Fagen with the glasses and the long hair and the whole look, the hippie music guy look. But no one knew who he was when he was out on his own. Like he had the anonymity when he would walk out into the street, he'd go to a restaurant. He looked just like anybody else, right? And he separated himself even further. He eventually moved his family to Hawaii and he owned an avocado farm. Yeah. Just kind of like totally fell out. But then when it came to making music and then they eventually started touring, he was in it. But again, if Walter Becker walked by you on the street, would you really know him?
No, there's a lot of people that look like him.
Yeah.
You go to Barnes and Noble, there's a lot of people that look like him. Seriously. You know what I mean? It's
go to Harvard Square.
Perusing the books. Yeah.
Go to Cambridge. They still exist. The hippies still live in Cambridge.
And he had a sense of humor. One of his solo albums called 11 Tracks of Whack. I love that title. And there's just a picture of him on the cover with the way he looks. Just
exactly.
Yeah.
But you know who Donald Fagen is. You would know who he is.
You know him. Yeah.
You'd know who he is. Yeah.
That face is pretty unmistakable.
Yeah.
Redbird, I didn't notice that Becker, they had some problems. He developed a lot of drug and alcohol issues.
Yeah. Well,
he was on heroin. He had
heroin.
And
that was, so he was definitely living a rock star life too, in other ways too. Yeah.
In other ways, yeah. Again, when he went out on his own, he didn't have didn't have to worry about people coming up to him in a restaurant.
Yeah.
But
It's like being the number two guy in a lot of ways, but he didn't have to suffer for being the number one guy.
And he was happy with that. Yeah. He was more than happy to be like that, which is what was good about them. If you see them in an interview, you'll see Becker just kind of sits there, and he's engaging, and you see Fagen, he's fidgety.
He doesn't want to be there.
He'll be looking at the table book, like a coffee table book, while they're interviewing. And then once they start talking about music, though, he didn't want to talk about his personal shit or anything. Then the guy, he's engaged, both of them. You get both of them. But they were,
He's known for being crabby, Donald Fagen, just downright ornery. That's what I've heard.
Yeah. He's a New Yorker, right?
He was born in New Jersey, Passaic,
New Jersey?
Jersey guy, yeah.
Yep.
Passaic.
Jersey guy.
Wow.
Passaic. I mean, his parents Passaic.
Sapaic.
P-S-A-I-C-K.
Hey, isn't it to the same thing? New York, New Jersey, same thing.
It's not the same thing.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa,
yeah,
Scott.
yeah,
Whoa.
Big friggin' difference.
Wait,
man.
hey, you guys, you're close to Portland, Maine. Same thing. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, except they say car more than we do. We say car. They say car.
Yeah.
So I can give you the difference there. Let's see. Dave Phillips says studio guys: Glenn Campbell, Leon Russell, Klaus Vorman, Clapton. Add to the list
And Steely Dan?
in the studio, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I'll tell
Dave
you,
Phillips, you better start typing, buddy.
Hey,
But you know who did play?
Oh, Mike, Steve
Want
Lucas.
to hear just the drummers?
Steve Lucas.
Yeah, the drummers.
Go for it. So I was going to try and stump you, Lou. I was going to stump you. Can I try that first?
Yeah. Stump Lou. Stump Lou.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I am because it's impossible. But
No,
so I think you know this then. If you were looking at the same website I was. So Jeff Beccaro played all the songs on Katie Lied. He was 20 years old.
Yes, he was.
Now, Jeff Beccaro later with Toto, Rosanna, and all that, except one song he didn't play on. Who played drums on the one song he didn't play on?
Who was the legendary Hal Blaine?
Okay, yeah, I didn't.
And it's there's something
Enough of that.
The song was something about belonging in this world. I forgot the title of it, but I listened to the whole the original Steely Dan catalog this week, just because I never listened to Gaucho before. Don't like it, but
really
anyway, no, I don't care
for you. Too slick.
It's like post disco, but it was Steely Dan. I give him credit for doing something different, and there's like 3 really good songs on that record. Yeah. But the rest of it, it's the same groove throughout. That's still, to me, that's Steely Dan doing a parody of being almost too slick, except for those select cuts. And the bass drum on Hey 19 is way too loud, in my opinion. It's way too loud.
I think the drummer.
I think they recorded that thing on coke. I think they mixed on blow.
Probably.
It was 1980. So the Eagles.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Hotel California sound. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I like Hotel California sound. The long run sound, I think, sucks.
Yeah.
It was recorded with tin ears. Yeah.
Where's my treble? Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, so drummer, the mother murdering Jim Gordon, we talked about last week.
Oh yeah.
Jeff Porcaro, who we mentioned too. That guy, he died at the age of 38. He was the drummer in Toto, but he was 20 years old. So he was 18 when he did Boz Scaggs' Silk Degrees record.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like a teenager.
In fact, Toto minus.
How do you get discovered when you're 18? Like, how do you become a studio musician?
He was in music. The Porcaro family
The
and
Porcaro
Page.
family in California. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then the other guy, David Page, his father, Marty Page, was big in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right. And so they were in music royalty.
But you still have to be good.
Exactly. He had a pair of drumsticks in his hand when he was a child. I mean, to do those serious grooves at 18. But his brother was he a bass player, wasn't he?
Right. Yep. There's only one Beccaro left alive. Mike. Tom's going to kill me if I get it wrong. Mike Beccaro was the bassist. Steve Beccaro was the keyboardist. He's the only Beccaro left alive. Mike unfortunately passed away too. So it's sad,
Wow. Yeah.
And they all died young.
Yeah. Jeff was 38.
Wow.
Anyway, but Steve Gadd, the legendary Steve Gadd.
Yeah.
Well, give us a background on him.
Well, he was a studio guy extraordinaire. In the 80s, his heyday was in the 80s as far as live playing. He's playing the drums on Late in the Evening by Paul Simon. He's the drummer and 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, that classic.
Oh, yeah. They did.
Yeah, and there's a ton of other things, but he's the drummer on the song Asia with those drum fills. Guy's incredible. I saw him at a drum
That's a
fill.
Masterpiece. That song is a masterpiece.
Oh my God. Yeah. You're absolutely. It is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And like Mark said, it is so well recorded.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing today.
I don't want to get off track, but I have to bring this up, and it's just because we're talking about masterpieces. I recently, the other day, I downloaded the soundtrack to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Right? Ennio Morricone. Have you ever listened to that? The soundtrack?
I've listened to some of it. Oh, it's amazing.
fucking unbelievable. I was listening to it with my wife tonight. We were coming back from her clinic, and I had it on, and I said that the amazing thing about this is it's not really an orchestra. It's got harmonicas in there. It's got bass drums. It's got snare
Twangy
drums.
guitars.
It's got it's got twangy guitars. It's just, I was listening to it. And I said, it absolutely. I've never really listened to the soundtrack because I've seen the movie so many times.
Yeah.
I know when I was listening to the soundtrack exactly what segment of the movie it connects to, and they have titles, but absolute fucking masterpiece. It makes it the perfect movie because it has a perfect soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like as unique a soundtrack it has ever been written.
Yep.
And to think that he watched this movie with no sound, like nothing.
Yeah.
Right? To create and to put and to piece it together and to make it to come up with those sounds in his head and match it. It's just, it was like an epiphany to this soundtrack. I never really paid much attention to anything other than the, wow. That's right.
Because you're seeing the visuals of the movie. You don't listen to the music. It's there and it's affecting you, but you don't realize.
It's really.
The music has a European flair to it, but it's about American Westerns. But it's really weird instrumentation that you wouldn't hear in that time.
Nothing in America, no soundtrack in America has ever been created like that. Nothing that I can think of.
I'm glad it's so greatly appreciated though, because like you said, it's brilliant.
It's literally timeless.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That'll never die.
It's part of pop culture. It's actually literally part of pop culture.
Yeah.
Although if it was made today, they'd all be women and they would be,
Now we're really going off track.
They would do gender swapping all over the place, And the ugly would have to still be a white male. But that's just me talking. I'm just going to say, instead of the Mexican, they'll make him a white guy. And, although Eli Wallach was a white guy.
The woman with no name.
Give him a cheer on that one.
Instead of Blondie, it's Bitchy. Anyways, getting back to Asia.
I wonder who the musicians were on that, though.
I don't know, but that trumpeter was fucking off the hook.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
The trumpeter is just it's insane. I really tuned into that on one of the cuts. That trumpeter was like no joke.
But if you hear something like "The Lonely Bull" by Herb Alpert, it's almost the same thing. They're very similar.
It is. There's a lot of that Spanish influence in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, did you guys, either of you, seen Once Upon a Time in the West? Was that him also that did the music? That's one of the most haunting scores I've ever heard. It
might be him. It might be him. Yeah.
When you see Henry Fonda all dressed in black and you see his eyes. And then that music is just that's my personal favorite, but I'm going to go listen to that soundtrack.
It's so like, it just brings you, if you remember the movie and my wife, fortunately, has never really watched the whole movie. So I get to watch it all over again.
Nice.
Like I told her this weekend, we'll sit down. I said, but you have to really be ready to watch a movie because this is literally almost a 3-hour epic.
Yeah. It's an epic.
It is an epic. It's an epic movie. The journey that is created along the way, Sergio Leone was the director, right?
Yeah.
The journey that he created was, you can't do that today. Yeah. There's no way they could pull that off. Nobody in Hollywood is that talented to pull off something like that. Saving Private Ryan might be a close
of that sort of sweeping epic.
That journey. Did you see the movie 1941? Oh no, 1917. 1917. Did you see that movie?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it.
Dude, you got to watch that. That's a journey. The camera motion, the way they filmed it. And I know this is a music podcast. We probably lost. I don't care. But the way they filmed it, it's constant motion.
And they edited it. It looks like one long scene, but obviously it's not. I saw it in the theater with my son, and then we got the 4K Blu-ray and all that, and we love it. It's just like it's a journey, and and 2 hours goes by like that.
Hey, maybe we'll do a movie podcast.
Not a bad idea.
Are you movie guys? Are you movie guys?
I'm
In
movie
a lot of
guy.
ways, I haven't seen a lot of things you guys have spoken about, but I'm going to see what's that movie you're sending me?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
and then
with the Quentin Tarantino movie,
and then Lou, like I told you, I'm going to send you that, watch it, and then I'm going to send you the book. But you got to read the book after the movie.
Okay.
Watch 1917 too.
Yeah,
it really is an amazing movie.
I've seen all the original Planet of the Apes movies.
I tell you what, way ahead of their time.
Yeah,
way ahead of their time. Absolutely, that was one of the greatest endings in movie history.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the first one, it caught everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like absolutely caught everybody. That is the Sixth Sense was probably this generation's Planet of the Apes.
Okay, with that weird twist ending.
That total fuck, like what?
Yeah,
probably. So okay, back to Asia. The song Asia. I think we were talking about drummers, Lou.
We were about Steve Gadd, the famous session drummer.
Yeah. Okay.
Live touring. Yeah, he a lot of stuff, but he's the drummer on that particular song. Maybe some others, but if you heard the song, you know that song. Those drum breaks, or that whole middle part is about those drum breaks. Total jazz.
Yeah.
A guy named Paul Humphrey played on the Asia album. I think he played on Black Cow, which that was not a single from that album. That got a lot of airplay. Yeah. It's a great song. Also the legendary Bernard Pretty Purdy, as he's known. Very influential drummer. Rick Marotta. He played with Linda Ronstadt a lot, but he's the drummer on Hey 19 in particular. A few others, but he's got a pretty distinguished career. His brother, Jerry Marotta, was Peter Gabriel's longtime drummer. And the drummer in Orleans. Remember Orleans?
Yeah.
Still the one. Dance with me. And also, I got my top and tail drummers are the deadly duo of drummers. It was Jim Gordon first, and the last one I got is Jim Keltner.
Oh yeah,
the Fifth Beatle and Buster Sideberry, and on so many things. A lot of John Lennon. He's a drummer on like Number 9 Dream.
My lately favorite John Lennon song. I don't have a lot of them.
Really,
I love that song.
I do too.
I love the segments. It's old school Beatles. It's like what Paul McCartney did with Uncle Albert.
Yes.
Like different, just like A Day in the Life. It's different, chopped up, all moved in together. And I just think that Number 9 Dream is just an amazing song.
Scott, I heard it on my way home tonight.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Synchronicity.
Yep. And it's Yoko's best work. You know why? In the parts, I heard you call my name. She goes, George. John. And that's all she does.
Yeah, that's right.
She doesn't go, John.
Yeah, can we hear the alternate take? You know.
Oh, God.
That's pretty good there.
Yeah, I've been practicing. See, that's how I usually do that before the show to get my voice right instead of
that's why it was in the beginning of the show. You were doing Yoko.
I didn't do it. That's my warm up to get my voice right. I didn't get to do it. All right, let me ask you this, Lou, who's Wendel, or what is Wendel? Do you know? Do you know what Wendel is?
I don't.
Wendel,
as pertains to Steely Dan.
Yes, Wendel is a drum machine created specifically for the Steely Dan album Gaucho.
Oh, the dreaded drum machine. That's why you don't.
It was awarded. Well, it was awarded its own platinum record upon certification.
Get out of here.
They did. They gave it
because Wendel was a part of the band.
Roger Nichols, I think, invented it. He created it. Now, at the same time, there was like an L17 drum machine that came out around the same time, and a lot of people thought that was what was used in Gaucho, but it wasn't. This was its own specific. So Roger Nichols was one of the engineers on the Gaucho sessions, fashioned a drum machine they used on this track dubbed Wendel, right? On the track, I forget what track it was. It was one of the first of its kind, and it allowed them to record Rick Marotta's drum parts and play them back with perfect precision.
That's Fagen.
why.
He doesn't
That's
want anything
why.
deviating. It's got to be perfect.
So, so when they say Rick Marotta, that's most likely Hey 19. Is that the reason why the
Yeah.
bass drum is so goddamn loud?
Yeah, that explains.
That's
it.
probably it. Yep.
It's funny because I listened to Gaucho for the first time as an album tonight, and I know Babylon Sisters, time was it time what's this time song? Time Out of Mind.
Okay.
And Hey 19. They're great songs, but a lot of us said this sounds like Steely Dan playing with a drum machine, and the songs are great. I mean, they don't write bad music, but given the fact that they had all those great drummers playing all that great drumming alone, the fact that they went with that kind of groove, I don't know. It reminded me of the Doobie Brothers Minute by Minute, where it wasn't a bad album, but it was like that was the Doobie Brothers I didn't know. Where were they didn't have two guitar players, and there were no guitars to be found on that record.
See, now that's my favorite Doobie Brothers album. Yeah, but a lot of Doobie Brothers fans don't like that album for that. What you're saying, it's too slick,
Yeah. I'm more of a fan of the Tom Johnson period.
Mm-hmm.
Those the rhythm guitars, but
Yeah.
But the first album with Michael McDonald was good though.
Captain and Me.
Streets. Yeah.
Taking Is the Streets. That's right.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great album.
Yeah. And Scott thinks I do a pretty poor Michael McDonald impersonation.
No, we can smell the whiskey on your breath.
Change my mind. Change my mind.
Okay.
Let's hear
You
it
don't
again.
know me, but I'm your brother.
Still.
Yeah, come on, man.
Lou,
I give up.
Lou, I'm reaching for my guitar. All right.
It's not going to help. It's not going to help.
Now, interestingly, we know Michael McDonald sang on a lot of their albums, but he toured with them on the Countdown to Ecstasy tour, their last tour. He was a keyboardist. Yeah. So, and Jeff Becker was their touring drummer on that tour.
Okay, well, he's listed as a member sometimes. I thought he was, I guess, touring member. Michael McDonald, he's strong on Peg.
Yeah,
I mean that whole backup just sounds
Peg.
like.
I forgot about Peg. I didn't write it down. That's a great song. The melodies,
Oh yeah.
I believe when I saw them at the Hard Rock Hotel Casino in Hollywood, Florida, Michael McDonald backed them up, and I do believe he came out and did a song or two with them. After while they were doing toward the end of their set. Yeah. Okay. Now that you just kind of jogged my memory, but that was back in maybe late 2000s, maybe 2000. Let me see, 2009 maybe. Yeah, maybe around that time, 2010. I think around that time.
I never saw them, and Tom asked me millions of times to see them. And my thing was, why go see them? They're going to sound exactly like the album. But now I'm thinking I should have went. I just should have went. Because he said, no, it doesn't sound just like the album. It's a live experience. But I went through a period where I didn't like Donald Fagen. He annoyed me. I think you were seeing reports of him being grumpy and all this stuff. And I just kind of like stepped away. It was in like late 90s. I just didn't listen to them, 2000s. I should have went because Tom's seen them countless times. They did the album tours where they would play whole albums and everything, and that would have been really good stuff to hear.
Yeah, that's some good. Well, the reason they stopped touring, I think after the third album or fourth album, they didn't really like touring. That's one of the reasons for his irritability was the fact that it's a big bore.
But ironically,
around to fly somewhere and then killing time.
That's ironic because they become this great studio band up until 1980. They split up. And then it get back together, but their first album was a live album, that live before the second Two Against Nature, and they toured till the end. So it's ironic that they had that late blooming with touring and live playing.
My understanding was they didn't tour early because they wanted their songs to sound right and to bring all the equipment they needed to get their music to sound right was just. It was a burden. It would have been very burdensome. They did a few, I think. I think they peppered a few live shows, but they didn't tour. I think they did like maybe one-offs or something, but that was my understanding that they just didn't want to, they had to lug all that stuff around with them. Then technology comes along, right?
Oh, yeah.
Starts to streamline everything.
Sure.
And it makes it a little bit easier. That's like these 80s bands, say like, I don't know, I'll just throw out like Soft Cell and Tainted Love. Like to get those those synthesizer sounds, they had to have this big fucking
banks of stuff and
looked
like
get
ELP.
it all and And just like hooking that up before a show and then it doesn't go right.
Right. If you're a perfectionist,
something is always going to fucking go wrong.
Yeah. Well, electronics are those guys were such perfectionists that you have a piano that's tricky to tune or some kind of thing. Hey, he's going to be a grumpy guy anyway. I mean, there were
like
amazing
me with microphones.
Their standards are so high.
Like me with microphones and sounds on podcasts.
It's going to be. There's going to be Milk Crate's turntable trivia when someone's going to say, "Do you know which episode where Scott couldn't keep it up? The microphone kept going down."
Remember that one? Yeah.
I was waiting for you to just flip out on that one. You
or last week when Scott just disappeared.
Hey, listen, I got to touch on that.
I love that. I got to say, I'm sorry.
Did a great. I went and I listened to it and I was dying laughing. I was fucking dying laughing. My wife was cracking up. Like sometimes she'll hear me listening to it. She's listening, like she's doing her thing, and she started cracking it. She said, "They did good. They did good." I said, "Well, they better. They have their own freaking podcast."
If we just sat there like this, Lou, what?
Did we earn our residency?
Oh, you earned it last week. That's for sure. That's for sure. I don't know what the hell happened. I should have just went. Yeah. I never went totally out and then came back in. I should have just done that because it doesn't. The stream doesn't stop. So
listen, we're in 2023, and as much as things have progressed, and I always complain to Lou and Perry about this. It's like everything sucks. The internet's there unless it's not there. Cell phones, they sound like shit when you talk. Your old phone sounded great. It's like it's the digital world. It's there or it's not there. If it was a radio show, unless the power went out, you'd be fine.
Yeah. So Steely Dan, that's my understanding is that they didn't want to lug all the equipment around. They wanted it to sound right, and it was just hard to do back then. And that's what happens when you're studio musicians.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're so trained in that you don't want it to be. You get these musicians that come in, play in the studio, right? And they leave the studio musicians behind.
Yeah.
They go out on tour and they bring a touring musician with them, right? I think Steely Dan was conditioned to this has to be perfect.
Yeah. It was a very controlled environment.
Yeah. Yeah. And then technology allowed them to kind of open up a little bit and get out there. And I was glad I got to see them.
Cool.
I told you they had the drummer actually was front and center.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, they had this young kid. He was a young kid too, and right off the bat, like the second song, he did one of Jack's favorite things: is a drum solo. And the kid, he was a jazz drummer, no doubt. He was a jazz drummer.
That's sure. A great solo, yeah.
He had like probably a 4-minute solo. I think it was.
Wow.
He was rolling. Yeah. But
they had the best of the best as far as the musicians that they're picking.
They always could. Yeah, they would spend the money.
You know what? I think I know what Dave Phillips was saying. He wasn't saying these guys played on Steely Dan albums. He was just bringing up great studio musicians, and he's right. And then I thought about it. Clapton has done some really good studio work through the years. So, Page did too.
Yep. So did
Leon
Becker,
Russell was a member of the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
No, I heard Tightrope by Leon Russell today. I was after I listened to Gaucho. What an interesting song. That middle part is really weird. That was a hit. That song was a pop hit. What an unusual song. It's almost vaudeville. It's almost ragtime, but very, very unusual. I don't hear a guitar in there.
Yeah, no, you don't.
It's like piano, bass, and drums, I think.
Wow, now that you think about it, yeah.
Yeah, there's no guitar. Unless it's
that's like a ragtime kind of.
Yeah, it's got that weird
piano,
that weird middle part, but unusual for a rock pop hit, but
yeah,
he was
that was what 70, 77?
No, before that.
74?
73, 72.
Really?
It's
that long ago?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so.
Okay.
Cool shit. Right. He never played with Steely Dan, though, I don't think.
No, I think he just says studio guys. I thought he was.
Yeah. Glenn Campbell. I was thinking, shit, did Glenn Campbell play on one?
Dang, he knows something we don't know. What?
Yeah.
Not that I don't mean to sound pompous like that. What if we don't know it doesn't exist? Could say if Lou doesn't know it doesn't exist.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Maybe. Yeah. It's not a far-fetched statement.
A lot I don't know.
And I'm going to say something. Circling back, Scott, what you said about you didn't listen to 60s music and then you started.
Yeah.
It was Lou and Perry when they were doing the show together, their show. and I'm listening, and they're talking about the pop, and I'm like bubblegum pop, and I start listening. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. I'm like 50 years too late, but it's like I rediscovered all these music, and now I listen to the 60s channel on Sirius whenever I can. You know,
I love that channel. I mean, you hear a lot of the same stuff. You hear a lot of Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Yeah,
but there's some cool shit there. Yeah.
Hey guys, hold on 1 second. I'm going to step out. You two carry it for like 10 seconds. Hold on.
Sure.
I'm just going to step out for a second.
Yep.
That bathroom must be real close.
10 seconds.
So, Lou.
Yo.
What's up?
Not much.
All right, I'm back. See you guys. Like, what was that? Why? There was no continue. It was like, you supposed to just
hear
continue.
what we said?
No, it's pollen season outside.
Oh,
pollen
yeah.
season.
Not up here. We just had a nor'easter, so we don't deal
So a
with
little congested.
Yeah.
A little congested.
We got our first blast of winter the last 2 days. It was 22 degrees here in the morning. This morning, we've had such warm weather. We had an amazing winter here. You know, even though in the mountains here, I was saying we don't get severe winters here normally. We'll get like every 30 years, it'll be a clobbering of 3 days of blizzard and just fucks everything up. But we've been grateful. But last 2 days have been wintry, except for Christmas. Christmas was 0 degrees.
Wow, colder than me.
Yeah. Hey, how many albums? Or I'll say over under. What do you think? How many albums, Lou? We'll play The Price is Right. How many albums has Steely Dan sold?
Platinum. I'm so bad at this. I'm gonna say over 360 million records.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Is
that high? I don't know. 3 trillion.
I'm gonna say under 15 million.
My wall.
Oh, his wall fell. Tear down the wall.
His wall fell down. Lou's wall fell down.
Do you want me to go play in the flesh?
Yeah, Lou on the full screen.
Stop. No.
Tear down the wall.
There's a mighty wind blowing here.
Yeah, what wind is blowing?
Jesus.
So they sold 2 million records, I think, all told.
40 million, more than 40 million records.
Whoa. And I said under 15.
Under 15.
Yeah, you were way off too.
Good on them.
I was being really optimistic.
7 of them reaching platinum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 7 of their albums went platinum.
How many albums do they have?
I was just thinking that.
It was like 8 or 9. I mean, there's like 8 of the original, right?
Then you had Two Against Nature, the live album, and then that last studio album. And I don't know if they put out another solo live album.
They have 9 albums? I think they have maybe 9 albums.
There were 3 when they reformed. I know that. Yeah. And nobody's mentioning Two Against Nature tonight, and I love that album. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to it.
They had 8 until 1980.
They had 8 until 1980.
There was 8 records. Then what was
Gaucho
the one
made it 9?
Gaucho was the 8th. That was the
last
last
one. Okay.
Yeah,
Alive in America.
Okay, so I was right there.
So 11, yeah.
Not a huge body of work considering.
No, but I mean it's
so crafty. I mean, you couldn't. They could have done 20 albums. You know?
Yeah, I mean, does it make a difference after a while? I mean, Chicago has what 32 records or something. Yeah, right. Didn't they break a record? Like every year they put out a record for like how many years straight?
Oh God, 2 records a year for a while there, and they were putting out double albums. So the first, second, and third, I think, were double albums. I mean, whoa.
Yeah,
amazing.
So the Ides of March, oddly enough, think of this: the Ides of March. Let's go back to them for a second, right?
Yeah.
The whole trumpet section, another Chicago band.
There were.
Yeah, they were a Chicago band. So you think about that. That must have been like the Chicago sound.
And I think
they were one section.
I think they're white guys too.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Was one of the guys in Survivor? Did he go on to be in Survivor?
The lead singer.
Jim Peter.
Jim Peter, yeah, the lead singer.
Okay.
Yep. Went on to Survivor and
great singer.
Yeah. So that again, that must have been the Chicago sound back then with trumpet sections.
I don't know if there was a Chicago sound except for Chicago blues. I can't think of anything in rock.
Yeah, I don't think
when Chicago was a band, but I guess very horn section based, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it was a thing. We just
Chicago in
didn't
their
know.
heyday were great.
Oh yeah.
You know? Did you see the Terry Kath documentary?
I think I did. I've seen so many rock docs. It's like they start to kind of.
Yeah, I think the ones on Leonard Skinner, I can't tell them apart.
Right, exactly, right. Well, there are a lot that
it all ends the same way. I don't, come on.
I know the ending.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
I want to watch it.
That's dark. That's macabre.
I'll never watch another Leonard Skinner documentary again.
You're
just
so
fucking
macabre,
blew it
Lou.
for. I'll never watch another one again. I know the ending. Oh, thanks, Lou.
You're like the guy that ruined Sixth Sense for me. You know.
I'm not going to give away the ending, but
yeah, halfway through the movie, Mark, the dude leans over to you and says, "By the way, Bruce Willis is dead."
Oh yeah, I was told that by somebody.
Oh, that motherfucker. Jesus.
But let me
deserves
tell
a
you,
kick
just
in the
to
head.
stray back to movies for a second, I feel fortunate that I saw Pulp Fiction before it was hyped, because when the movie gets hyped, I never like it. So I went to see it as soon as it came out, and I heard, oh, John Travolta's in it, and I was lucky enough to experience that without knowing what the hell I was going to see.
Me too.
I saw it 3 times before it got hot. I saw it like 3 times in 2 weeks when it first came out. When they described John Travolta as an overweight, long-haired heroin addict hitman,
you're in.
How can you not see it?
Yeah.
Right. And
couldn't you, like, when you saw him on screen with the greasy hair, sweating, doing this, you could smell him. Like, he's been in that suit for 4 days. You know? It's like, ugh.
But you're right. Before it got hyped, yeah.
And then after the
everybody
hype,
jumped on the bandwagon.
And I think a lot of people thought they should like it because it's hyped. But there's a lot of people that probably didn't appreciate it. You know,
there's a lot of people that can't figure out the storyline. They can't piece it together. The beginning is the ending.
It's yeah, but it's so easily made like that. If you can't catch that, you don't care. You know.
Right. If you see it enough, you'll start to figure out but a lot of people are like, I don't get it. I couldn't follow it. It jumped around. Like, you have to kind of figure out what's going on.
When John Travolta comes out of the toilet for like the 3rd time, he gets trouble.
It's a thinking man's movie in a sense.
Yeah.
You know,
I saw it with my first in-laws, and my father-in-law. He was a very old school Italian guy, right? So when the rape scene came on, the two rednecks, I was like, I was like, holy shit! And I looked over at him. He's looking to the side in total disgust.
The gimp.
And my mother-in-law was into it. She's like, she was fascinated, but me and my wife were like, wow, never saw anything like this.
Yeah, they did caught me off guard.
Yeah.
First time I was like, oh, that's what I thought you think he's beating him up.
Yeah. And you just see it for a second. You see it, and you're like,
holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the whole pacing in that movie too. I mean, you know, the needle in the chest. I mean, how tense I was just as nervous and anxious as they were. Oh shit.
That's how I said to Mark. That's the way you do it. Buddy.
You got a black Sharpie, a magic marker.
None of that up the nose stuff. It's right in. No. Let's get that shot of adrenaline going.
I'd rather shove it up someone's nose. The
look on Patricia Arquette's face during that scene is fucking priceless. If you've watched it enough, you see her in the background with this look of just like her eyes are as wide as saucers, and she's got this smile on her face like she's just loving the whole insanity of it. She's just absorbing it all. You just see her lurking behind them, like on her knees, like just absolutely waiting for this to go down, the whole needle and the thing. Oh, and when
Travolta mentions, I mean, the chick with all the shit in her face, that's my wife.
Yeah, Trudy. Hey, Trudy's single if you're interested. Which one is that? The one with all the shit in her face? Yeah. No, that's my wife.
I think that's Eric Stoltz's best role.
It's a good role. It's a great role.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Steely Dan.
Steely Dan.
Yeah. So the final album was Gaucho, right? 1980s, 1980. Yeah.
1980.
It took over a year to record that album. Now, take a guess, Lou, at how many studio musicians they used on that album.
44.
Mark?
What? I'm looking at my computer.
You Google this.
All right, I'm gonna go under, Lou. I'm gonna say 38.
Survey says 42.
Lou wins.
Mark wins.
Oh, okay. 38.
Lou said 44, right?
I said 44. What did Mark say?
38.
That's a long way from 42. I think I
But
won.
it's below. You went over. Price is Right rules. Price is Right rules. If you go over, it doesn't matter.
Fuck him. Screw you, Mark.
Mark could have said 1.
And look what I got. I got an Amazon gift card for doing this.
As Mark literally held up an Amazon gift card.
Okay, tell me and riddle me this.
Yeah.
How many producers did Steely Dan use in the course of their career? And those first group of albums, how many producers did they use?
The first group, they had one producer, the first couple albums, right?
Answer the question, Mark or Scott.
Are you saying the first couple
I'm
albums?
going to let Mark go first.
And the first group, the first 8 up until Gaucho, how many producers did they use?
Is this the Price is Right rules? Or if you go over by a couple, you're still closer?
Whoever's closest.
Okay. Without going over?
I'm going to say three.
I'm going to say 2.
Ooh.
Scott wins. The answer is 1 producer.
I was going to say 1.
Okay.
Wait, wasn't Roger Nichols a producer?
Gary Katz, as far as I saw, he produced
Gary
all
Katz
those
did.
albums.
Oh, so Roger Nichols was actually the engineer.
Is the engineer?
Perhaps, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. See, I know stuff.
You know stuff.
I know stuff.
You do.
Yeah, Roger Nichols is the one I just mentioned him earlier. He was the engineer. He's the one that created Wendel, the drum
Wendel.
machine.
So, Scott, what is your favorite Steely Dan record?
I know.
Go ahead.
Royal Scam?
Yes.
That's your favorite record? Okay.
Yeah. I've said it before. Yeah, I just love that album. That was what turned me on to Steely Dan, actually, is that album. I pulled it out of the milk crate.
Royal
Scam. And when I heard Royal Scam, I was like, I could not stop listening to it.
It's great.
The song, I could not stop listening to the song. And then, of course, listen to the whole album. So,
and let's not forget FM, that one cut that wasn't on any album.
Yeah.
But it was on the soundtrack for
on the
FM.
soundtrack, FM.
One of the truly horrible movie.
Now, didn't the Pretenders have Talk of the Town on that or no?
No, that was Times Square.
That was Times Square
with Tim Curry,
right.
and that was also on their second album. That's my favorite Pretenders.
Yeah, I was going to say the Pretenders weren't around FM. Yeah. No, that was the Eagles. That was so you had, let me see, the Eagles with Life in the Fast Lane, right? It was on that FM soundtrack.
I think so.
It's Steely Dan. You had Linda Ronstadt was on there. Who else was on there? I think the Doobie Brothers were on there.
Wasn't Linda Ronstadt in the movie? They showed her playing live, if I remember.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the soundtrack, Lou?
No. I remember hearing some songs from it. I never saw the movie either, though.
So I named this as actually one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. We did a show on it back a while ago. Maybe we could do it again, actually. So you have, listen to this. This is like one of those songs from K-Tel. This is one of those K-Tel albums. K-Tel hits in the 70s. So you start off with FM by Steely Dan or No Static at All.
Right.
Night Moves by Bob Seger. Fly Like an Eagle, Steve Miller. Cold as Ice, Foreigner. Breakdown, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Bad Man by Randy Meisner. Life in the Fast Lane by the Eagles. Do It Again, Steely Dan. Lido Shuffle, Boz Scaggs. More Than a Feeling from Boston. Tumbling Dice, Linda Ronstadt. Poor, Poor, Pitiful Me, Linda Ronstadt. Livingston, Saturday Night, Jimmy Buffett. There's a Place in the World for a Gambler, Dan Fogelberg. Just the Way You Are, Billy Joel. It Keeps You Running, the Doobie Brothers. Your Smiling Face, James Taylor. Life's Been Good, Joe Walsh. We Will Rock You, Queen. And FM Reprised by Steely Dan. Wow. Is that not one of the fucking greatest soundtracks you've ever heard?
Yep. And the movie bombed.
It was quirky. It was a very quirky movie. Yeah. Very quirky.
It keeps you running.
Yeah. Oh, that's my favorite Doobie Brothers song, actually.
Wait, hold on, I'll get my guitar.
Oh, Jesus.
Jack likes my Michael McDonald impersonation.
But Jack's not here.
Well, still.
Jack's not here.
But Jack's a musician.
You know who else isn't here? You know who else isn't here? Dave's not here, man.
Dave's not here.
Dave's not here, man. I'm Dave. I'm Dave, man. Open the door. Dave? Yeah, it's me, Dave. Dave's not here, man. I'm Dave.
Comedy albums.
Yes, comedy albums. Yeah. Yeah, they that's an unbelievable. But Steely Dan never put that on any of their albums.
Yeah. And it was worthy of an album, but you know what? Donald Fagen may have been rushed. They may have had only 2 months to make that song. And he probably considered it rushed. You know?
Yeah.
Is that an outtake from Asia?
You know what? If you listen to the beginning, it sounds like it could be.
It does, yeah.
That's a good point. I never thought of that.
What year did the soundtrack come out?
Let's see. Got it right here. 78.
Well, Asia was 77, so it probably was an outtake.
Or they were still in the same kind of writing style. You know? But you're right. I never put that together. Good call, Lou.
Well, thank you.
Good call. So what else you got? What else you got on Steely Dan?
All right. I got a
feed
little
my head.
How many other musicians?
I have a
Mark,
little clarification for you, Lou. FM was the first single Steely Dan released on MCA Records, which released that FM soundtrack, predating MCA's acquisition of ABC. FM had been recorded during the same sessions as for the band's album Asia, using some of the same studio musicians and recording personnel. So yeah,
fucking
and
Lou, look at that.
Jeff Beccaro's on it.
Oh, really? He was amazing.
And several members of the Eagles sang backing vocals.
Timothy B. Schmidt sang on quite a few things they did. He had a pretty lucrative career as a backup singer.
Yeah.
Even before the Eagles, and definitely after. He's like on Twisted Sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned there was a Randy Meisner song on that.
Yes.
So, ex of the Eagles.
Yep.
Original bass player.
Yep. Bad Man. Yep.
Oh, there's a Tom Petty song. Breakdown. Yep. Yeah.
Did you not hear me reading?
Yeah.
Were you not
paying attention?
Were you not listening to the host?
I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet. Sorry.
Don't make me go all music relish on you, Mark.
Sorry.
Music Relish will be doing our next episode a week from Sunday.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Perry Denevich!
Holy shit, the timing.
The bot is back. The bot is back.
Enough of that. The bot is back. The bot is back.
Screw your yacht, Perry.
He's Steely Dan.
He's doing it again.
For their yacht.
Doing it again.
Didn't we mention it? I don't know if he was watching earlier when we said, you think one of you guys said, I don't think Perry likes Steely Dan.
But they are called Dan fans.
On a yacht. You can listen to them in a canoe, a kayak, a rubber inflatable ducky, anything. You can listen to Steely Dan anywhere in your tub. You can
listen to them at a Grateful Dead show.
That's true.
Yeah.
Why would you want to do that, though?
I know. I'm opening.
I would, because I wouldn't want to listen to the Grateful Dead.
There you go.
Good one.
I'm the only one who goes to a Dead concert with headphones on.
Scott, have you ever heard Terrapin Station?
No.
It's the most undead like thing they've ever done.
Treat yourself.
It's classical almost. I heard it today. I heard part one, I think, on the way home today. I heard a lot of cool stuff on the way home today. We talked about it, but it's orchestrated classical dead. It's totally different than anything they've
progressive.
Ever done.
It really is.
The drumming's amazing.
Yeah. I still won't like it.
How about, can we give you a dare? Could you check it out and then let us know?
All right, hold on. Let me
Terrapin Station.
Let's see.
Oh, and don't play the opening chords and go, no, I don't like
Scott,
it. No.
Scott, I'm not a Dead fan. I can be just as disdainful, but I was like, what is this? I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, whenever I mention
I'm liking
Dead,
this.
No, that's Estimated Profit.
It's a good song.
Terrapin Station remastered.
That's the album.
Estimated Profit.
The album.
Oh,
that's
the
a good
album.
song too.
Let me see. Oh, here we go. Right at. All right. I like the first song better. Let's see. Let's see if this gets me in trouble on
oh God.
And what was the prize if I listened to this? The dare. You dared me, so I'm daring
It's
you.
18 minutes.
It's 18 minutes.
Yeah.
They're not jamming. They're not jamming.
They sing for 18 minutes?
No.
What the?
I never thought in my life
there's
I'd hear
instrumental
Lou
passages.
defend. And Lou, I'd never thought I'd hear you defend Grateful Dead.
No, I told you on Music Relish one time. I said I heard Turpin Station. It's not like a Dead song in the beginning, and a lot of Dead fans don't like this record, I believe. But once they got into the percussion and all the instrumental parts, I'm like, this. Apparently, Phil Lesh had a big influence on that, right? Because he was a classically trained bass player. But
Yes. And they had that producer. What was his name?
Gary Katz, no,
big time producer, an LA guy. So he kind of got him sounding slick. So,
wow,
it's got
Yeah, you lost me. You guys just keep having a conversation. I don't care.
First time I mentioned the Grateful Dead on Music Relish, Perry and Lou both exhaled at the same time. So it was a stereo.
There we go again.
And then I did they're like a jazz band. And that's.
Yeah.
There you go, Perry. Look at Perry.
yeah.
Fucking Perry. Here you go, buddy.
Yep.
Look at Perry.
It was May Pang.
Enough of that. You got three. See, damn.
Yeah,
the
man.
crowd liked that one.
That wasn't Yoko.
Oh, it was May
he was
Pang.
with May.
His side dish.
So that was during the Lost Weekend, apparently.
Yeah, that's his. That was his little his side egg roll.
I'd like to thank Perry for making me look
Side
bad.
egg roll.
Thanks, Perry. All right.
We're here to make you look
I'll
bad.
see you a week from Sunday, buddy.
Perry reaches out.
You don't hear from the guy for 3 fucking months, and he comes to make me look like an asshole.
He just got
Hey, Perry, listen to where I
by the
stumped
neck.
Lou. I
got
stumped
Lou
Lou,
in.
and Lou didn't understand my joke. We both got him.
The producer was Keith Olsen.
That's it. From White Snake, who later produced White Snake. Yeah.
Snake Pit.
Hold on, I'm deleting this song from
memory?
Station. Yeah, I'm deleting it from my
From your life.
Spotify memory, history. It never comes up again.
It was
Now they're
May
gonna think
Pang.
I like the Grateful Dead. I'm gonna start getting these recommendations. Thanks,
Right.
Mark.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Now, did May Pang also whisper George? Perry? As
I'm
opposed to
sure.
John. Okay.
Because why would Yoko be there, right? She told him take a hike, take some time
She hooked them up. She pimped.
She
May
put them
Pang out.
together.
She put them
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Well, John, like myself, evidently has a taste. Mine has to be Filipino. His happens to be Chinese.
And John did play the harmonica.
Or is she Japanese? She's Japanese, right?
She's Japanese. Right?
Yeah, she's Japanese.
I have May Pang's phone number. Swear to God, I do.
Did you meet her on
Is
LinkedIn?
she still alive?
I met her on Yeah, man.
Did you meet her on LinkedIn, Lou?
My wall came down again.
Walking. Lou's studio is falling apart.
Note
My
to audio
facade.
listeners, Lou is under rubble.
Lou's wall is falling down behind
I
him.
really did have May Pang's phone number. You know how I got it?
How'd you get it?
My friend Jim Bogart, who was the drum when I was playing guitar and fronting a band, my friend Jim was the drummer. He met her somewhere, and I don't know why, but I was reading some John Lennon book. He goes, "I'm going to give you her number because I think you should call her." I'm like, "I'm not going to call her." Hi, I'm Lou. We can
You
go
don't
from
know
here.
me,
We
but
can go from here. You don't know me. But
hey, Lou, what's her number?
my
627-5309.
Our wall's coming down.
Look at-
Anyways,
Look, his set is falling apart.
I'm going to tear the room apart.
By the end of the show, he's just going to get up and slam it to the floor.
Here, Lou, I'll make you feel
Fuck
good.
this
Stop
backdrop.
crawling out.
Really?
Fuck this. I'm sick of this shit. Lou's is
my-
going to
that's-
snap
that's
and
my
trash
acoustic
his own
battery.
studio. That would be comedy gold.
All
If
right.
Lou just gets a snaps, fucking, you made me look bad. And he starts slamming shit around the studio.
Like a chimp.
And then he walks off and just leaves a blank screen. And you hear him yelling from the other room, motherfucker.
May Pang my ass.
You fuck this shit. I'm done with this shit.
Why doesn't Perry come on the show sometime?
He's a bot. He doesn't. You. He's a bot.
Look in his avatar. He's a bot. See in the sign there, his little profile picture. It's a bot, man.
And you just bought it.
That's why he hasn't come visited me. He lives 20 miles from me. He doesn't visit. Why? He's a bot.
So Mark just bought it out, didn't he, Lou? Didn't he just ping, ping, ping?
He did. Mark, when you were saying bot, you just went total robot warble.
Yeah.
Well, it's I may drop out tonight because we saw those nor'easter winds. It's like 40-mile-an-hour winds. So I'm on borrowed time here.
That's right.
Yeah, the palm trees were blowing too hard last week. I got out I don't know what it did to me. Yeah.
That was a luau.
All right, so what else do we got on Steely Dan? What do we want to
there's many other musicians. I just named some drummers that play with them. Mark, how about some guitar players?
It's guitar players. That's the reason I like them. I'm a big fan of Larry Carlton. He's a jazz guy, and his playing, that's the one guy that stands out to me in Steely Dan more so than any of the others.
Or Denny Diaz, the original.
Yeah.
That guy was wild.
And that's
great guitar player.
Here's another thing. What's unique about Steely Dan is the first two albums was Denny Diaz on guitar, Walter Becker played bass, then he picks up guitar, but he was never really good enough to do the solos. Then they split up, and he became a fantastic guitar player. Because when they reformed, if his playing is just incredible. So he got better as he got older. It's just, they're such a unique band, the way they everything with them worked out, But Larry Carlton made Kid Charlemagne. I think he played on it. And if I'm wrong, I'll get crucified by Tom, but I believe it's Larry Carlton. Oh yeah, Larry Carlton.
Didn't he get shot in the neck?
Yes. Horrible story.
Right.
So he was walking from his house to his garage studio. And this is one of the preeminent guitar players in music in general. And it was a gang initiation rite. Somebody just picked him to shoot. And they shot him, and it missed his artery. But your whole hand for your guitar playing is connected to those neck muscles.
Yeah.
Took him a long time to come back, and his playing, you can hear a difference. It's not the same. It's still great, but it's not what it used to be.
So that was a random thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shit.
Wow.
I didn't know he was shooting Larry Carlton. It was just he was supposed to shoot somebody.
Just happened to be.
Yeah.
Like the Iceman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. That guy. Was he a hitman or something?
Yeah. My brother lived across the street from his sister.
Really? Is that?
Yeah.
That's your 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm convinced. Well, there's a liquor store I managed, Andrew's Liquors, Mark. I'm convinced Kuklinski came into there. He's one of those people, when I saw him, I said, I've seen him before. I
bought a lot of beer and wine from you because I live 2 blocks from there.
Yep.
This show is really dark.
We've covered everything.
It is, right?
Play with Steely Dan? The late, great Wayne Shorter, who died last week, I think.
Oh, yes.
Saxophone. He was in a jazz rock band. Well, there, Weather Report.
Weather Report was huge.
Weather Report.
They were Return to Forever. Jaco Pastorius. And
Birdland is their big. Heavy Weather was the big album, very influential. But he played with them, I think, on Asia.
Yeah. Oh, that was sad. The guy was 90, but when these musicians up until they die play, that's what's sad. It's like if he did nothing for 10 years, all right, but the guy was playing like Jeff Beck, right? He played right up until the end, and that's sad when that happens.
Isn't that going to be what's his name from Yes?
Steve Howe.
Steve Howe.
Yeah.
I don't see that guy quitting anytime soon.
No. And he looked 80 years old back in the 80s. So.
Yeah.
He really did.
Which is kind of good. When you look old young, people don't think you're getting old, Like Brian May from Queen. He doesn't look any different.
Yeah, it catches up. You're like, you looked older when you were younger. Now you look younger. You're older. Like you didn't change, right?
Yeah.
So what else? Give me any factoids on Steely Dan? Anything in the?
I see somebody consulting his notebook. So this is like Gandalf ready to read
I got 1 page of stuff but other songs, Bad Sneakers.
Oh yeah,
Bad Sneakers. Yeah.
So who is in My Old School? That's one of the earlier hits too, right? That's from Countdown to Ecstasy. Who was the Daddy G that they mentioned? I can't recall the line. Daddy mentioned Daddy G coming in. They had a little drug bust.
Daddy
I
Gandolfini?
think it was Bard College where they went to school.
Daddy Gandolfini?
No.
Okay.
It was G. Gordon Liddy.
Oh, shit.
So
That's
he
who it's
was,
a reference to?
Yeah. He was like a prosecutor. He was, before he got bigger. He was involved in, I think, the bust on their old school. I was smoking with the boys downstairs.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I forgot the one where it mentions Daddy G. But yeah, that was a reference to G. Gordon Liddy.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if we
Lou
start,
redeemed himself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
God,
if we start
I
talking
needed it.
about lyrics from Fagen, we'd be on here all night because it's like,
Yeah.
his lyrics cover one song will cover like 10 different things.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's a stream of consciousness when he's writing it. It just comes
Deacon
out.
Blues. I mean, Deacon
Yeah.
Blues. Like, think of that. Like, he's writing about colleges, like,
It's also the story of a middle-aged man that's looking to bust out.
What, Deacon Blues?
Yep.
I thought that was the same thing as Hey 19, too.
I read it was more of a guy that he's having almost like a midlife crisis thing.
What's that, on Deacon Blues?
I cover every game in town, learn to work the saxophone. I thought I might be wrong, but I thought I read where that was. He was talking from the perspective of a guy that was,
Could be. Yeah.
They should have used it in American Beauty.
Yeah. Well, pretty much the same thing. He wants to get out and play in jazz bands. Maybe he hasn't done it in a long time.
Yeah.
Unless I totally.
Here's a song that we didn't mention, Dr. Wu. That's a great song.
Yeah.
What's that song about?
And he says Katie lied. That's where they got the name of the
Right,
album.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So that's on Katie Light album.
Smooth song.
It is.
That's one of the good example of their groove and just smooth and the keyboard, the chords on the keyboard.
That's where he says, "With a Cuban gentleman play all." It sounds like he has a lisp in there. Not a lisp, not a lisp, but just.
Well,
with
look
a
at him.
Cuban gentleman play all day.
Like he has dentures.
Yeah.
He just
I
got
don't
some new
know.
dentures in his mouth.
But next time you listen, just listen for that in his voice sometimes. I don't think it's constant, but it's
And
strange.
that was the first album that he did all the lead vocals on, right? Yeah, Katie Light. No, that was Yeah, it was. That was her.
No, I think Pretzel Logic was.
That's right.
The third
Yeah.
album. But I think was that the last time? They only used one drummer on that record. They used Jeff Porcaro. Was that the last time they did that? And it was also the first time they were a duo on that record.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that was the last of the old band. They kind of went their ways. So I think that was the first record as Becker and Fagen.
Yeah. I just want to address James Alston. He's been thank you for the compliments, James.
J-Man is a great man. Let me tell you, he's the man. He's at the top of a mountain right now.
He says you're the man.
He says you're the man.
No. J-Man's the man. We call him J-Man.
Supposed to say, how can I be the man when you're the man?
I can't be M-Man. That just doesn't sound right.
You're the man. How can I be the man when you're the man? But he likes the pinball. That's a Led Zeppelin 3 pinball machine, by the way.
That is cool.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite Led Zeppelin album.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it
I told you the story of that pinball machine, right?
You mentioned it a while ago.
I went to buy a video game. I was going to buy a video game, right? I wanted to get one of those like I wanted like a Street Fighter, like retro.
Mm-hmm.
There's a place down in Fort Lauderdale, and it's all old school retro gaming. Because I have right behind me right here. This is a Pac-Man 1981, I think, or 82 Pac-Man tabletop.
Wow.
A bar top cocktail game they call it, right? I got that for like, I don't know. I think I only paid a couple $100 for it. Wow. But so I was getting it fixed, and I went into this. I brought it down to this guy, and he's looking at it. He fixed it for free. Like this light right here, particularly that you could see wasn't working. But he got that fixed, and he says everything's cleaned up. It's great shape. So I started looking. I said, "You mind if I look around?" And he goes, "Yeah." So we're looking at video games. I'm looking for like one of those all-in-one games type thing. So he goes, "Well, I have this one right here. It's the old school TV, they called it, right? It's because the video games back then were on what would look like a TV screen. Like if you broke open one of those old box TVs, right?
Yeah.
You know how it's a curved screen?
Yep.
So he showed me one with the flat screen, the LCD. He goes, "Nah," and I was like, "Nah, I want the old school." He goes, "This one." So I said, "All right, listen, I'm going to go talk to my wife, right? Because she's likes the retro stuff." So long story short, I go out to Boca. I said, "Hey, there's this machine. The guy's retrofitting it into a box, all retro, right?" and he'll give me it for a price. And so she's like, well, let's go look at it. So I drive back down with her, and I go, all right, yeah, this one, right? She sees this, she goes, that's nice. Yeah, that'll look great. So I said, and she's buying it for me. So I'm like, well, you guys are conducting business. Can I just go, I'm going to go look around. And I walk down and I take a right, and I didn't even know this room existed. It's probably about 80 feet long, this room. And it's probably about 30 feet wide, and it's just a line of pinball machines.
Wow. Heaven.
Right? And the one that sticks out the most was this Led Zeppelin one. It was just glowing. They had them all. They had AC/DC. They had like old Star Wars. He had all of them, right? But this one was it just lit up. Just screamed my name. And I'm standing there, I'm looking at it. Like, damn. And I turn around, and my wife and the guy is standing there. And I looked at her, I said, she goes, you can have one, but you can't have them both. You have one or the other. I'll take this one.
Cool.
Wise choice.
Yeah, a lot more expensive too.
I would think, yeah.
Yeah, a lot more expensive, but thing plays it has 12 Led Zeppelin songs it plays while you're playing.
Oh,
it.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. It's pretty cool machine.
That
pinball is a lost art. There's a pinball arcade in Nashville.
Really?
Yeah, in downtown
I'm coming
Nashville.
down.
Yeah.
I've learned there's a whole scoring system that we don't even know about. Like we're just flickers, right? And there's certain things that you have to do to produce more points. And there's you got to get certain things so many times and combinations of things. And like this, it's an art. These guys know exactly how to. We just hit the ball to try to score as much as we can. Make it
try to get it to
down,
the top.
Go up the thing and then down.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, and you make the bing, 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 and everything lights up, and But
don't you hate it? Don't you hate it when it goes to the top and you're waiting for 10 freaking minutes while it's going around, and then it comes down slowly, and there's no way you can flick it. It goes right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
There's a magnet. There's a magnet.
Yeah.
There's a magnet that it's not a strong magnet, but it's a magnet enough to keep it right down the middle. Yeah.
So frustrating.
Yeah. But that's the story that my wife says. And then the guy delivered it to my house that day and put it together on a Saturday. Yeah.
What's the make of it?
It's a Stern.
Stern, okay.
Stern, yeah. They're like this Bally. Stern is like they have a lot of contracts with like Led Zeppelin, because there's a Led Zeppelin one, just Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
It's got the Achilles on the cover. You can't see the graphics on this because it's lit up, right? So you can't. But it's the Led Zeppelin 3 album cover.
Yeah,
it's the whole thing. So
it's a crisp album cover. It's bright. It's you can see the details, so it looks perfect on a pinball machine. That's why it stood out to you.
I went on to their website and I was looking at it, and people were kind of, you get these pinball players, like it's a simple setup and because these guys are professionals, right? And one of them says, yeah, but the graphics on it are stupid. They make no sense. I was like, dude, do you even know what the graphics mean? Like, do you know?
Right.
Do you ever heard of Led Zeppelin? Kid was probably like, 17.
Yep.
Like the graphics on it are stupid. They don't make sense. Like
it's hippy dippy.
Yeah. It is kind of random. But all right, listen, what else do we got? What else we got about Steely Dan? Now that Mark got his accolades by J-Man. Yeah.
I'm done. I mean, the music. The music.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, we could probably keep dragging out. Let me see if I covered everything that I had.
Wait, did you know what is the song The Fez about?
Ain't gonna do it without the Fez on. Ain't never gonna do it without the Fez on.
And that kind of goes with Steely Dan.
Oh no.
Yeah, you could put a Fez on a Steely Dan.
Yeah.
It's about using a condom.
Ah, okay. All right.
A spaggy, as my high school teachers used to call it. It's prom night. It's a spaggy.
I think you said this a couple weeks ago, maybe, Lou. Who designed the album cover for Asia?
Oh, it wasn't me. Don't know.
Maybe it was Jack.
Yeah, he was talking about it because I learned from that. I think it was Jack.
Well-known artist.
Comedian.
Richard
Late-
Belzer. Richard
Phil
Belzer.
Hartman.
Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman. Yeah.
Wow, he did that one.
Yeah, before turning to comedy, he eventually joined Saturday. Phil Hartman was a graphic designer whose credits include the cover to 1970s classic Asia by Steely Dan.
And America's Greatest Hits.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amongst a lot of others, yeah.
The Eagles' Hotel California was written to be a Twilight Zone style metaphor for LA and Beverly Hills and their strange inhabitants. The Steely Knives were a reference to Steely Dan, who inspired the band to be bold with their lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't Steely Dan mention the Eagles in one of their songs? I believe
They
so.
did.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
I don't know. My girlfriend keeps turning the Eagles up. Or there was something.
Yeah.
Turn the Eagles up.
So there was one of them was having a fight with their girlfriend. I think it was Walter Becker. Maybe was having an argument with his girlfriend.
Yes.
They had a falling out or something, and he says, "My girlfriend keeps turning up the Eagles," or something like that. Yeah. I had mentioned that in one of the shows a little while back.
When people knock the Eagles about country rock, I said, in some ways, I thought they always had a lot to do with Steely Dan. That whole Southern California sound. I thought there was a correlation there, and so I think they were fans of each other.
Oh, I'm sure they all were.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a lot of rivalries back then.
Yeah.
Everyone was making the same amount of money. There was levels. I mean, there was the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin and the Who and maybe a select few Queen and a select few others. Maybe Aerosmith. I don't know. But then they were all kind of clumped together.
Yeah.
And then they started separating from the pack slowly. But they all came up together.
It was a golden time when you could actually make a living off selling your music.
Selling
Can't
albums,
do that anymore. People just want to download.
That was probably one of the reasons for the reform Steely Dan touring. Not to mention the ease of touring now. If you got the money to do it, I mean, Steely Dan goes first class all the way.
Yeah,
but like I said, Fagen's keyboard is an all-in-one digital masterpiece. It's this weatherproof thing.
Yeah,
but both the Eagles and Steely Dan basically broke up in 1980.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. All right, let's move on to good discussion, gentlemen. First of all, good discussion as usual. I think we all brought something to the table tonight.
Hell yeah.
Well, you two did. I mean, I just listened,
The self-deprecation. It's just, I mean,
I just invite
you know what he's looking for, Lou. I'm going to talk like he's not in the room.
Validate.
Fucking Mark just looking for people to no, Mark, no, you do contribute, Mark. Don't you hate when he does that, Lou? Don't you hate when he,
stop. I mean,
you have to talk to him about that. I mean, I think we're all friends right now. We just met, I don't know, 6-7 months ago. I think you're my friends. I think
I'm a self-deprecating bot.
Is he in the room? Is he in the room still?
Scott, he's begging for love is what he's
Is
doing.
that what it is?
It is so undignified. He's just like, love me.
I'm getting my guitar.
You're closer to him now. Maybe you want to give him a hint. Maybe 6 months from now, I'll call him up and say, Mark, what the fuck? Now we're still in the kind of, we're still in, wait a minute. Boz Skaggs and Steve Miller started out together. Okay, well, that's another show.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
There you go. Good job, Dave Phillips, king of the 45s.
Did Boz Skaggs sing "Living in the USA"? Or was that Steve Miller?
Steve Miller.
I think it was Steve. Right?
Boz Skaggs would never sing "Living in the USA."
He'd be like this.
Living in the USA.
Everybody gonna roll around, hanging with the crowd.
You know what annoys me about living? You know what annoys me about living in the USA?
That's better than my Michael McDonald impersonation too, by the way. Yeah.
Go on, Mark. What were you saying?
Lou, living in the USA, the drummer totally loses the rhythm, the speed.
You have said that. You say
it annoys the crap out of me. It really does. Listen to it.
How did they let it go then? How did they let it get recorded like that?
Good point.
Those albums were made on a low budget,
Okay, so no one's gonna really pick up on this. Let it go.
I don't think they used drum machines or click tracks back then. So case in point, I was thought on America's Sister Golden Hair. I played drums along to it on headphones. I think they speed the chorus up, but I think it's deliberate. I think you can do that within a song. Some bands have tempo shifts, but I think if you played maybe that certain part of the song didn't sound good slower. Maybe.
Yeah, it just I don't know. It's a pop single. I just want to hear a pop single stay the same. That's just me.
You're a perfectionist like Becker and Fagen.
Well, I think Living in the USA, we're going to go back to Pulp Fiction, right? I think they let it go, thinking no one's really going to notice it, right? And we'll just move on. Just like in Pulp Fiction, in the scene where they're in the apartment with Brad. Check out the brains on Brad. But his name was Brett, actually.
It's Brett, yeah.
And Jerry Seinfeld's in the bathroom.
Right? It is.
Jerry Seinfeld's in the bathroom, right? And he's got the gun. Look at Lou.
Oh, shit.
Lou knocked over his shit again. Trash it, Lou. Trash it, buddy.
It's Keith Moon. It's Keith Moon.
That's it. Throw it, Lou. A microphone.
Yeah.
Let's do it again. It's a Lou meltdown. For those I can't say, it's a Lou meltdown.
He is trashing his head through the headphones.
This is a side of Lou I've never seen before.
This is great. Look,
Don't
he
hit
threw the
yourself.
headphones at the camera.
Fucking think who's boss.
If you,
It still will not cooperate.
for the podcast listeners, you gotta watch the video. Go to like 1 hour and 51 minutes. Oh my god!
150.
Oh, 150 start at 150. See the Lou meltdown. Now it's back.
it.
Now it's fucking back in place.
How did it come
again.
back so?
I don't know.
You beat it into coming back.
Is it like one of those fucking sponge things that just pops back into place?
It's all Velcro.
Harry says he really wants to take it out on me.
Oh.
You're damn right I do.
Hey, I'm not getting
have
in this
no
family
idea.
fight. This is I stay out of family quarrels. Oh shit. So let's go back. So Pulp Fiction. Pulp
I need
Fiction.
a drink.
Right? Living in the USA, the drum offbeat. There you go. So in Pulp Fiction, when Jerry Seinfeld's in the bathroom and they're out in the living room, and he pops out with the gun and shoots at them, right?
Yeah.
And then they turn around, and the holes are in the wall. If you watch the movie, you'll see the holes are already there.
Really?
Oh, really?
The holes are
I
already
watched
there.
it the other night. I didn't notice it.
Yeah.
That's a
But-
blooper.
Quentin
holes are already
may have
there.
done that on purpose, saying, I want to make people talk about the movie years later.
No, he knew. He's that fucking Quentin Tarantino was that brilliant that he knew people wouldn't really notice
Yeah.
until they paid attention to it when those two turn around and look at it. But from now on, when you watch that scene, go watch it on YouTube tonight. You'll see the holes are already there. Brilliant.
Very
Brilliant.
cool.
Yeah.
I never knew that the guy was Jerry Seinfeld either.
Looks just like him.
He does.
Exactly like him.
Fucking looks just like Jerry Seinfeld.
And he was in the bathroom because he had the black and white cookie. That's why.
All right.
That gun was bigger than him.
Exactly. Yeah,
I haven't thrown up in
Did you
10
see the
years.
size of that gun?
That's right. Fucking thing was bigger
Don't
than
eat the
him.
cookie.
You
Don't
see the
eat
size of that hand cannon? All right, let's do top 10 this week in 1979.
Ooh,
Year
great
before
year.
Steely Dan.
Oh, this is good. I like this.
Year before Steely Dan broke up. Number 10 this week in 1979. Sultans of Swing, Dire Straits. Yeah. Number 9 this week in 19. What were you going to say?
People thought it was Bob Dylan.
Right. Yeah. At first. Yeah. Just like Coldplay with Clocks. People thought it was U2.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Sounds like Bonham.
Sure.
And just like Stone Temple Pilots, people thought it was Pearl Jam. Anyways. Number 9 this week in 1979. That was a great year for music, by the way. Just all around great year.
Yeah.
I posted a video a little while back of the hits of 1979. It was like, holy shit. You just forget.
Massive albums.
Yeah.
You had classic bands kind of winding down.
Next
new
week,
waves
let's talk
coming up.
about 1979 next week.
Yeah, let's do it.
Do it.
Okay.
How's that?
We
That's
better
gonna
come
be a
on
good
at
show.
6 because it's going to take a while.
That's a 3-hour show.
Hey, it doesn't matter to me. I'm retired.
I don't sleep much anyway.
Okay, number 9 this week in 1979, YMCA by the Village People.
Wow.
Number 8 this week in 1979, What a Fool Believes by the Doobie Brothers.
She came from somewhere
Oh,
back in her long
jeez.
ago.
Wrong.
What a fool believe. A wise man have the power.
Careful, you're gonna get a hernia.
Did you just say white man has the power? Did you just say that,
No,
Lou?
I did not.
What?
No.
Lou, what did you say, Lou?
You made me say it.
I swear I heard you say that. Cancel Lou. Cancel him.
Oh,
Cancel him.
Cancel this. Okay.
Cancel this. That's right, buddy. You fucking tell him, buddy. Cancel this.
I didn't do nothing wrong.
Number 7 this week in 1979, Shake Your Groove Thing by
Shake Your
Good
Groove.
thing. Oh,
That wasn't Peaches and Herb. No. Ah, shit. Good one. Shake Your Groove. Yeah. Evelyn Champagne King. Yeah.
Lou, you should have stuck with it. Peaches
Really?
and Herb.
Was it really?
Yes. You
I give it
should have
to
went
me.
with your gut
I
feeling,
did.
buddy.
I said, I really, that was Peaches.
Lou,
Okay.
let your gut hang out. Come on.
I was trying to egg you out. I'm going,
Yeah,
that's it. That's it. No, okay. Number
But I
6
knew it.
this week in 1979, A Little More Love by the late, great Olivia Newton-John. I'd say she was great. She was a 70s icon
Yeah.
and a hottie.
Little more love. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, she was.
He was a hottie, an Australian hottie.
Aussie hottie.
And then Kylie Minogue came along. She's an Australian hottie.
She's a favorite of yours.
And then Kimbra, this girl Kimbra. I don't know
Oh,
if
from
you've ever
Gautier.
listened-
From Gautier.
Yeah. She's got a lot of good solo stuff.
Okay.
And she's a hottie too from Australia. I like my Australian girls.
Down under.
Next to my Filipino girls.
This show went from death to hotties.
This is really this is really
We covered,
going a little
we covered
south
everything.
there. Okay, number 5 this week in 1979. Speaking of hotties, Heaven Knows by Donna Summer. She was a 70s hottie.
And the
Great
Brooklyn
song.
Dreams.
And Brooklyn Dreams. There you go, Luke. Look at you. You redeemed yourself. Good call.
Heaven knows not the way it should be. I'm not giving up.
That's
Come on,
is
man.
that Michael McDonald does Donna
Yeah.
Summer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that what that was? Michael McDonald does
He did
Donna
them both.
Summer?
Yeah.
Is he going to do a Donna
That would
Summer
sound-
cover,
that would sound
cover
like
album?
Love to Love You, Baby.
I want to hear, Lou, for next week, Michael McDonald singing Fool in the Rain from Led Zeppelin.
Oh,
That's
jeez.
a mashup.
This can't be a segment now. No. You can't.
Yes, it's like
We're
SNL. You get
standing
a
in the
segment.
rain till I'm friendless.
Okay. Number
Immigrant
4.
song.
Number 4 this week in 1979, Fire by the Pointer Sisters.
Mm.
I heard that
Number
yesterday.
3.
Dude, I heard that yesterday.
There you go. Number 3 this week in 1979, Tragedy
Ah, great song.
by the Bee Gees.
When
This
you,
is
when you
now,
lose
this
control,
is where you, what's that? What, Luke?
when you lose control because you got no soul, it's tragedy.
Yeah. This is where disco was king in
Tragedy.
around this time of
Yeah.
so
Wait.
Well, this was like disco going into rock. Didn't Donna Summer, or it might be on the top 10 list. But didn't she
Where's
have
I-
like Bad Girls? That was like rock disco.
Hmm.
it was
Kinda.
disco. It was disco.
Yeah, but it had rock. It had like rock guitar.
And it had the
Like just
whistle in
like-
it too. It had a whistle.
That's pure disco. Yeah.
That's
Like
my
Kiss.
whistle invitation.
Is that
What-
Donald
what-
Fagen whistling?
That's Ronald Fagen.
What was the Kiss
Fagen.
disco song?
I was made for loving you, baby.
That's
Yeah.
the best thing they ever did.
That's a great song.
Number 2 this week in 1979. I actually still like this song. A lot of people don't. A lot of people didn't like it and they don't like it. Do You Think I'm Sexy by Rod Stewart.
Great song.
I like that. I still like that song.
And you know
I
who
still
wrote
do.
it?
Oh,
The drummer.
Carmen
Carmen
Appice?
I think he co-wrote it, but yeah.
Who
that's
produced it?
I don't know.
Legend. Capital
Phil
letters.
Ramone.
No, bigger legend.
Phil Spector. No.
No, not as big. I mean,
Tom Dowd.
almost as big. Wrong.
That's the story of your life. Almost.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
I have
Shot
10
fired.
hours to drive away if you
Look,
come up here.
look,
So I'm
Lou's trying to
I know a
do
guy.
some-
I got reach.
yeah, I heard that. That's what she said.
That's right.
Oh,
No, who's the
oh.
producer? Who's the producer?
Lynn
I can't-
Johns. Glyn Johns.
That's right. Yes, yes. So
And
weird.
It's not right because you didn't get it.
You didn't get it.
You didn't get it.
Blondies Have More Fun. Good album.
All right.
You like that?
And
one?
number one this week in 1979. What would you say is the biggest disco anthem ever created?
I Was Made for Loving You. No.
79.
Biggest disco. This is the disco anthem of all disco anthems.
I would think it was YMCA, but we never
No.
you mentioned that.
Not the Bee Gees because they were already on there.
No.
The Beethoven's Fifth.
No.
Or the Star Wars.
This is an anthem of disco anthems.
Disco Duck. Disco Duck.
Tramps. Disco Inferno.
Nope.
Oh.
Number one this week in 1979. I Will Survive
shit.
by Gloria Gaynor. That is the anthem of all disco anthems.
That is. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you go. That was the next week. We'll talk about 1979. There you go.
So that whole list was mostly dance tracks
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
or disco.
6, 7, 8 out of 10. Sogma Swings, What a Fool Believes are the only two non-dance songs. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Mark's favorite time. Mark's favorite part of the show. This day in music.
Yeah.
Da-da-da. I like to do this one. All right, enough of that. Okay. This day in music on March 15th, 2019, George Michael's art collection sold at an auction, raising more than 11 million pounds, which is the equivalent of $14,597,000 for charity at the London branch of Christie's Auction House. The singer-songwriter was a major supporter of British arts, including the likes of Tracy Emin. Highest price for The Incomplete Truth, 26. Okay, anyways. On this day in 2015, well, it was a sad day on this day in 2015. Mike Porcaro,
Bass player.
bassist for Toto, died following a battle with the horrible Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yeah.
He was the middle brother. Weren't we just talking to them? Isn't that funny? We were just talking about them at the beginning of the show.
Jeff Porcaro.
Wow. That's kind of weird.
It's one
It's
Porcaro left.
Zeitgeist. I'm telling you, Zeitgeist.
Yeah. Okay. I'd say
Democracy
serendipity,
shit,
but
man.
okay. You can go the German route.
Serendipity do.
He was the middle brother of Toto members Jeff Porcaro and Steve Porcaro.
And incidentally, he wasn't on the first few albums. He didn't join until 1982 or 3, I think.
Yeah. Toto, who formed in what year?
76, 70.
Lou?
70.
See, hold on. 77.
Oh, it formed in 78.
Well,
No, the first album came out before then.
It says
Oh,
Toto,
oh.
who formed in 1978. This is today in music. Don't question it.
Okay. But
You
he didn't
probably
play on
right,
Toto 4, the massive. That was David Hungate. the
I think I
original.
owe Mark a bash, though, don't I? I have a bash I could throw a Mark.
Bash him.
Yeah.
Bash him. Fucking
Okay,
bash
and
him
the-
like you bashed your
Right on my
backdrop.
chin.
Yeah,
come on,
really.
come on. I can take it.
Like you bashed your backdrop earlier.
I think I hurt my drum set, too.
I'm Irish.
In the Rolling Stone Encyclopedia of Rock, I was reading about Steely Dan, and they mentioned the Porcaro brothers, and they said Jeff Porcaro and David Page were the paragons of that. No, they were the creators of that pea-brained paragon of professionalism, Toto. So whoever wrote the review of Steely Dan gave a big bash to Toto, and I know you're a fan, so I know it doesn't hurt you. But I hope it does. No.
They're
Right.
ripped a lot.
They had some. You sent me a live Toto thing that was pretty. I was very impressed.
I
by.
love Toto. I love him. Not afraid to say it. Not ashamed.
No.
There you go.
But this reviewer kind of bashed the Asia album too, saying it was like mindless, slick. And I'm like, no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was so. That's one critic's opinion.
Yeah. Critics. Fuck
Critics.
critics.
Yeah,
Let them criticize Milk Crates and Turntables podcast. I will fuck them up.
that's right. Kick him in the head,
Right, I
Scott.
will. Yeah.
His head's to
Fuckers.
kick.
Fuckers. No bad reviews.
Oh, Scott's shoulder is like flinching. He's getting mad. He's doing
Yeah,
it.
he's
little
twitching.
antsy. I got my Belichick hoodie. This is my Belichick hoodie. This hoodie is like literally 20 years old.
Wow.
And you've got the Belichick headphones on. See, there you
I
go.
do. See? Well, I
You're
don't want to
plays.
cut the sleeves off. I don't want to cut the sleeves. I like the sleeves.
Just inflate your balls, please. All right.
Here we go. Anyways, it was another sad day on this day in 2014. Lou, do you know who Scott Ashton is?
I've heard the name, but I couldn't tell you.
Best known as the drummer for the Stooges.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Died of a heart attack at age 64. He co-formed the Stooges in 1967 along with his older brother Ron Ashton, Iggy Pop, and Dave Alexander. Let's see. This is kind of This is. I don't know if you. We were speaking about movies earlier. This mentions something. On this day in 2013, friends of Lena Clarkson. Do you know who Lena Clarkson is?
No.
Lena Clarkson.
No.
The Last Train.
The
to Clarkson.
actress murdered by music producer Phil Spector.
Yeah.
They were protesting at a screening of the film about his trial. The movie starring Al Pacino. Did you ever see it?
No, I saw the pictures.
Pacino does a good job at playing.
It
It's
looks
really
good.
fucking bizarre. Yeah.
Wow.
Spector was a bizarre dude anyways.
Yeah.
But he really does kind of look like him. It's really weird. Yeah.
The hair.
The movie starring Al Pacino focused on his relationship with his defense lawyer, played by Helen Mirren, but the group against the film said it was too sympathetic towards Spector's defense case. Clarkson's former publicist, Edward Lawsey, called the film a slap in the face. Because they didn't really focus on the murder thing, which they didn't shine him in a really bad light.
Yeah.
Wow.
Should be.
I read somewhere that said in even like obituaries for him that said that his legacy was marred by a murder conviction.
Yeah, right?
No, he killed a girl in cold
Killed
blood.
somebody.
Yeah. He was a nut. Yeah.
And not the first time he brandished a gun on somebody either.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
On this day in 2010, Sony Music announced the biggest recording deal in history with the estate of Michael Jackson, worth more than $200 million. The deal involved 10 album projects overseen of 7 years, including one of the previously unreleased material. Sony had about 31 million copies of Jackson's albums worldwide, sold about 31 million copies of Jackson's albums worldwide since his death on 25 June 2009. On this day in 2005, former Stone Roses singer Ian Brown of Manchester, England, was arrested after a fight during a concert in San Francisco after a fan jumped on stage and attacked the singer, who then became involved in a fracas with a security guard. Brown was arrested at his hotel after the show at the Great American Music Hall, but released without charge. Why did he get arrested? Like, he gets attacked.
One thing after another.
He fights the guy, evidently gets in a fight with the security guard too. While the security guard's trying to get him. He's the lead singer. And they let him go. They were like, what the fuck? On this day in 2002, Yoko Ono, who gets another mention on this podcast, unveiled a 7-foot bronze statue of John Lennon overlooking the check-in hall of Liverpool John Lennon Airport. The rebranding of the airport featured a sketch of Lennon's face with the words, "Above us only skies."
Wow.
And then Yoko did her solo of Imagine, and it sounded like,
That's too good. Oh man, let me clean out my
that was
ears.
the whole song. That was the whole. That's what it says here in my notes. That's what it says.
And you don't want me to play guitar.
She did. She sang Imagine. That was her first.
I could tell.
On this day.
Wait, John has an airport named after him?
I guess.
Yeah.
He wouldn't give a fuck about that.
No,
he wouldn't.
no, but she does.
No.
She does. Want me to sing Imagine again?
No. Okay.
Could you do Number 9 Dream?
Next time Lou does fucking Michael McDonald, I'm gonna do fucking Yoko. There it goes again. There it
Where's
goes.
my-
The backdrop fell again.
Where's my
Energy
fucking
from-
guitar?
You really, you got Lou's backdrop has fallen 4 or 5 times.
I got a word for my set designer. You're fired.
Oh, Jesus. On this day in 1999, Bruce Springsteen was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Who inducted him?
Oh,
I'll bet you a classic, someone a lot older than him. Soul singer?
Nope.
shit.
No. Okay.
Doug Bruce. John Mellencamp.
Joe
Nope.
Strummer.
Nope.
Tom Petty.
This is not a protest song.
Bono.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to go back and find that. I'd love
Yeah.
to hear it.
Yeah.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yes. On this day in 1997, you might not like them, but you got to give them credit. The Spice Girls went to #1 on the UK singles charts with Mama, making them the first act to ever have their first 4 singles reach #1 in the UK charts.
Hey,
Wow.
listen, my kids are embarrassed to say, when I say it, but that album was really good. It had good pop song, and they hate it when I say that. But a good song's a good song. Come on,
Yeah.
yeah.
And weren't they in the Three Stooges movie?
I don't know.
Probably.
I think they were.
Probably. Yeah.
Weird.
On this day in 1988, Mick Jagger opened his first ever solo tour. His first ever performances in Japan and his first full concerts since 1982. With 3 shows at Osaka's Castle Hall in Osaka, Japan. The show was mostly made up of Rolling Stone songs, excuse me, including songs not performed by the Stones for a long time, including Bitch, Gimme Shelter, Ruby Tuesday, Sympathy for the Devil, as well as the Jimi Hendrix song, Foxy Lady. Would you go, if Mick Jagger just did Rolling Stone songs, would you go see him? Instead of already did his solo album and it was like...
No, because you know what that was?
Trash.
That was called the I'm Pissed at Keith Richards tour. That's all that was.
So I'm just going to make money off of the songs that we wrote.
Now, I saw Keith Richards solo. He was great.
Yeah, but he did his own
Expensive
material,
Winos. Expensive
that's
Winos.
great stuff. Yeah, great show. Yeah.
On this day in 1986, the Bangles were at #2 on the UK single chart with Manic Monday, which is one of the worst one of the most, my hated song fact of all time is, did you know Manic Monday was written by Prince?
I didn't.
Everybody says.
Yeah.
Well, it was actually under the pseudonym Christopher.
Wow,
Yeah,
you
that's
just
right.
taught me something.
You didn't?
I do.
Did you know that Christopher wrote Manic
All right,
Monday?
Donald.
Not
All right.
Prince. It was Christopher. Fuck is Christopher.
Is this a Steely Dan song? Christopher.
It also,
The artist known as Christopher.
yeah, the artist known as Christopher. Say it right, Lou, bitch. It also made #2 in the U.S.
Number 20. That was number 22. Wow.
Don't look up at me.
That was
Yeah.
a hit. That was a hit.
On this day in 1982, Bob Dylan was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame at the 13th annual dinner held at the Hilton Hotel in New York City. After the ceremony, Dylan gave a short interview with Jane Hansen, and nobody cared. On this day in 1975, the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
I knew it. I'd just
All
do
right.
it, Lou. Sing it. Just sing it.
No, why don't you let Lou read
No,
the?
Lou, you got to do it. It's Doobie Brothers.
He's got to read it
No.
in Michael McDonald voice.
You don't know me, but I'm
Okay.
too self-conscious now.
Oh,
My voice hurts from screaming.
Okay. The Doobie Brothers went to #1 on the U.S. singles chart with what song in 1975?
Taking it to the
Jesus.
streets.
Did you
Jesus.
both say the same thing at the same time?
Just all right with me.
No.
I thought taking it. I said taking it.
I want to hear some funky Dixieland.
Oh.
Mama, come
Blackwater.
take me by the hand. By the hand, take me by the hand. Pretty mama gonna take
Wanna dance with the daddy all night long.
Christ. Fucking monster.
Now, don't you want my guitar playing back and Jack's guitar playing back after this?
No,
Come on.
no, I would rather hear fucking Lou do Michael McDonald.
Oh,
Oh no, here goes my wall again.
Lou, you need to stop leaning back. We're almost done, Lou. We're almost done.
Okay, I'm good. I'm good.
I guarantee you next week he's gonna have that duct taped to the fucking wall.
no, he knows I have.
I have a nail gun.
No, Lou knows I have a plotter printer. He's like, could you just print one of these for me and I'll
What is
just tape it to the wall?
background?
I'd like a backdrop of Venice.
On this day in 1973, Roberta Flack was at #1 on the U.S. singles charts with
The
What
first
year?
time ever I saw your face.
Killing Me Softly.
yeah. Killing Me Softly.
Ooh, nice, Mark.
Flack first heard this song on an airline when the Laurie Lieberman original was featured on an in-flight audio program. The song was born. Hold on, I gotta let. There we go. That's somebody in the gate. This song was born from a poem Lieberman wrote after experiencing a strong reaction after seeing. Do you know what performer and what song inspired her to write "Killing Me Softly"? She saw a performer sing a certain song, and then inspired her to write.
Donny Hathaway.
That's what I was going to say.
Don McLean performed the song "Empty Chairs."
Wow.
That was her inspiration.
Huh.
Yep. On this day in 1972, DJ Robert W. Morgan played the Donny Osmond version of Puppy Love for 90 minutes on the radio station KHJ in Los Angeles. Los Angeles Police Department mistakenly raided the station after receiving numerous calls from listeners. Confused, the officers left without making any arrests.
What were the charges?
Someone must have thought the station was hijacked.
I remember when that happened.
Or I thought someone was making love to a puppy.
Anyways, Jesus. Now we get
Death,
to
walls
bestiality.
falling.
We start off with
bestiality,
the steam-powered Dylan. Now we're talking about bestiality.
puberty
What's going on?
voice.
Put a-
You know,
put a condom on the dildo.
Jesus.
this show
I see
just
it.
went.
And then, Hey 19, little
Yeah.
Jesus.
I can
All
relate.
ties together. It was a sad day on this day in 1970. Mary Ann Gassner, American singer with the what group? What all-female group?
Soaked degrees.
Mary Ann Gassner. She was a twin, actually. And her sister sang with her, too.
All female singing group or a band?
Yeah, singing group.
Singing group.
Not the band from Park Ridgeville.
The Gassner sisters.
The Shangri-Las.
Oh,
She died in
wow.
Queens, New York at age 22 of a drug overdose. That's too
Wow.
young.
Was she the singer?
She was one of the singers. Between 64 and 66, they charted with teen melodramas and remained especially known for their hits Leader of the Pack, Remember Walking in the Sand, and Give Him a Great Big Kiss. The Shangri-Las were two sets of sisters, Mary Weiss, the lead singer, and Elizabeth Betty Weiss, and identical twins Marge Gassner and Mary Ann Gassner.
They were like the bad white girls of the girl groups.
Right.
They're like the Ronettes.
Yeah.
They're a little sexy.
Yep.
Walking
on
in the Sand is a great song. Didn't Aerosmith cover that?
Yes.
Yep,
Right.
they did.
Yeah.
Yep, good call. On this day in 1969, Cream started a 2-week run at #1 on the UK chart with their 4th and final original album, Goodbye. The single Badge, which was written by Eric Clapton and George Harrison, was subsequently released from the album, which is my favorite song. Actually, one of my favorite songs all around. Was subsequently released from the album a month later. Harrison was credited on the track, and I think, Lou, you said this both of you last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. For contractual reasons, he was listed as who?
Leangelo Mysterio.
There you
Mysterioso.
go. Mysterioso on rhythm guitar. On this day in 1969, Tommy Rowe started a 4-week run at #1 in the U.S. singles charts with Dizzy.
Dizzy.
Yeah, go check out that video. That is a retro
Interesting.
video, buddy.
Do you know who played drums on it?
I don't know.
Mark?
Hal Blaine.
Hal Blaine. Yeah.
Or I was going to
There
say
you
Bernard
go.
Purdy second. But
Enough of that.
The god Hal Blaine.
Let's see.
The
On
deity.
this day in 1969, Janis Joplin was featured on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine on sale for 35 cents. The magazine was founded in San Francisco in 1967 by Jan Wenner. The first issue of November 9th, 1967 was in a newspaper format with the lead article on the front saying Monterey Pop Festival. On this day in 1968, the Rolling Stones started daily sessions at Olympic Studios in London to start recording their next album, Beggar's Banquet, Working from 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. each day without a break, the Stones worked on Jumping Jack Flash, Child of the Moon, Jigsaw Puzzle, and Parachute Woman, as well as an instrumental the instrumental foundation for a song called Did Everybody Paid Their Dues, which would later become
You can't always get what you want.
Street Fighting Man.
Oh.
Lou, we both, we
Street
suck.
Fighting Man. We both took a step backwards. That's right. That's right.
It was the syllables. We were just
step off the curb.
Uh-huh. On this day in 1967, George Harrison, the first session recording George Harrison's new song, Within You, Without You, took place at Abbey Road Studios, London. George was the only Beatle to perform on this song, which was still called Untitled at that moment, at that time. Harrison played the sword mandel and the tambora. The Notversoni played tabla. Armat Garage played Dured, blah, blah, blah. A lot of Indians played a lot of Indian music. I'm not talking feather Indians.
No.
Other Indians. Yeah. That would just be. Sorry. I am not politically correct. I don't care.
This is what happens after the 2-hour mark.
They were called Indians back then.
And an undocumented musician played the droning tambora. What? No papers. What did he come in through Mexico? Undocumented workers on a Beatle, on a George Harrison song? What the hell?
Those damn musicians are so pissed.
Damn. They let anybody in.
Interesting.
It was probably the guy from John Lennon's Garden.
Yeah.
What did he play? Really?
John Lennon's Garden.
I'm just like you. What did the undocumented guy play?
He played the droning tambora.
Ah.
Yeah. Look at that. How fucking hard can that be? How hard can that instrument be? Right? You're just blowing into it. How fucking hard is that? You need an undocumented dude to do that?
Like, it might be really hard. We don't know.
Bladder bag where you get
it's not just the tambora, it's the droning tambora. Like, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. On this day in 1955, they probably didn't pay him either.
Of course not.
The check is in the mail.
When
you go back to India, it'll be waiting for you in the mailbox. On this day in 1955, Elvis Presley signed a management contract with Colonel Tom Parker. Parker had previously managed the Great Parker Pony Circus, with one of the acts being a troupe of dancing chickens.
Jesus.
Exactly. Look what he did, though. The guy was
he signed that.
He saw Elvis, and he's like, I see money. He was like the Don King of music.
He knew.
On this day in 1955, Ray Charles peaked at number 2 on the U.S. R&B charts with the Atlantic single, I Got a Woman. Widely considered the first song to be labeled soul, a blending of R&B and gospel. That's it for this day in music. Born on this day we'll go latest to oldest. Born on this day in 1977, Joe Burden, the DJ from Linkin Park. Born on this day in 1975, Will I Am, American recording artist, songwriter, entrepreneur, voice actor, DJ, record producer. Will I Am, who was a member of Black Eyed Peas. Oh, Jesus.
That's the droning tambora.
Anybody can do it. Sounds like my fucking razor. Sounds like my electric razor.
This goes on for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Still not as long as a Milk Crates and Turntables.
We were
That's
talking about
people are
talking about
and Michael McDonald. Will I Am has produced with other artists. Yeah, this guy kind of got around. You'd think he's just with the Black Eyed Peas, but he's produced other artists, including Michael Jackson, Justin Bieber, Eazy-E, Britney Spears, Dave Guetta, U2, Rihanna, Usher, Justin Timberlake, and Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Massive producer, yeah.
Yeah. Born on this day in 1972, Mark Hoppus, singer with Blink 182. Born on this day in 1968, Mark McGrath, singer with
older than me.
Singer
Sugar
with Sugar Ray. That's right. Every morning there's a halo hanging from the corner of my proposed bed.
Okay, so Lou and Perry say that I like everything. I don't like that song.
Really?
That's Perry says that.
Wake you up, baby. Don't say a word. I like that. I like Sugar Ray. They're kind of happy. They're kind of cool.
It's catchy,
smooth. Yeah, they were all friends. Them, Korn, Limp Bizkit. They all came up together. All friends. Those dudes.
Korn. That's
Korn. Yeah, that's my band right there, buddy. Let's see. Born in this day in 1964, Rockwell. Kennedy Gordy, son of Barry Gordy, who had the 1980s hit
Somebody's watching me.
Yep. Born in this day in 19...
Nobody's watching me.
Oh, Jesus.
I got a feeling.
Lou, don't lean back again. It's swinging. It's swinging. It's the gate. The gate is swinging to your right. The gate is going like this. It's teetering.
It'll be really bad if the wall falls down.
That. Yeah.
We see
the roof.
The
roof just come tumbling in on him. There's fucking drywall all over him. He's got shit everywhere.
Can't relax in my own home.
Born in this day in 1963, Bret Michaels, singer for the glam metal band Poison. Born on this day in 1962, lost talent, really, American singer-songwriter Terence Trent D'Arby, who came to fame with his debut studio album. It was a great album.
Oh, that's great.
Introducing the hardline, according to Terence Trent D'Arby, released in July 87. Which included singles If You Let Me Stay, Wishing Well, one of my all-time favorite songs. Great memories with that, too, in the Philippines, that song. That's a great song. Cool. And Dance Little Sister and Sign Your Name. He adopted a new name. Sananda Maitara, which he has said relates to a series of dreams he had in 1995. He legally changed his name 6 years ago in 2001 to Sanada Maitreya. I don't know what the fuck you say.
That sells records.
Is he still singing?
That's harder to say than Terence Trent D'Arby.
Yeah, really. He changed it to nitrates.
Should be easier. Just name fucking John Smith. The fuck, Terence? Oh, Sanada. Sananda.
Sanada, hello, Fada. Here I am at camp.
Here I am at camp. Terence Trent D'Arby.
I think Mark blew wine out of his nose.
Fuck you, Lou. I just had wine go up my nose. Got you back.
Okay. Born in this day in 1955, Dee Snider of Twisted Sister. Let's see. Born in this day in 1952, Howard Devoto, lead singer of the punk rock band The Buzzcocks at one point. Born in this day in 1948, Stephen Nisbet.
Oh, I know that name.
Hello?
Nope.
Drummer for the British reggae group Steel Pulse.
Huh.
Yeah, he later owned his own record company, Grizzly Records. Nisbet died in 2018 at the age of 69. Born in this day in 1947, Ry Cooder. Guitarist and member of Captain Beefheart's Magic Band. He worked with Gordon Lightfoot, the Rolling Stones, Eric Clapton, Randy Newman, John Lee Hooker. He released the 1979 solo album, Bop Till You Drop, and the 85 film soundtrack album, Paris, Texas. Cooder produced that.
I'm arguing with you. Stephen Nisbet, I looked on LinkedIn. He's the president and co-founder of Shields and Stripes. He's not the drummer. So you were wrong on that.
I only date women.
This is when off of LinkedIn. It says
Stephen. That's all I got for Stephen Nisbet. LinkedIn.
Stephen
Nisbet. You're trying to be hooking me up here, Mark. This is not right. No.
This guy's, I'm sure there's more than one fucking Stephen Nisbet in the world.
How many Mark Smiths are there?
Is it Steven or Phen? There could be a difference.
No, there's only one Mark Smith, Lou. You know that.
Well, I know that. Okay. There's only one.
Anyways, born on this day in 1946, American guitarist Howard Scott of the American funk band War. Born on this day in 1944, the genius, the originator, the godfather of funk, Sly Stone. Born on this day in 1940. Yeah. Walks around like this when he's a big crick in his neck.
That guy. He partied.
Yeah, he did. Born in this day in 1941, the biggest asshole in rock and roll.
Axl
Mike
Rose.
Love.
Oh.
Yeah,
He's a fucking asshole. He's a straight up fucking asshole.
douchebag.
Douchebag, asshole, dildo, Steely Dan, fez wearing.
He wears a fez, yeah.
Hey 19, motherfucker.
He kicked Brian Wilson out of the Beach Boys when they reformed. He kicked him out just so he could have the whole paycheck.
Yeah. Piece of shit he is. And then he goes up on stage at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and starts saying
God.
we're better than the Rolling Stones and we're
Mick
better
Jagger's-
than Aerosmith.
Mick Jagger's always chicken shit to play with us.
Yeah,
That
piece of
fucking
shit
kid,
he is. Yeah.
Fuck him.
Anyways, this is the hate part of the show.
I like the fact that Dennis Wilson married his niece or his daughter out of
It's out of spite.
Out of spite, yeah. It's like I married your teenage daughter. Hey, 13.
Hey 19, hey 13. Pulled the Jerry Lee Lewis.
Pretty much. Pretty
I
much.
am not. My name is Bot. I'm not on the show.
Mark Smith, Pearl River, New York.
Who's doxing? He's doxing you. He
Pearl-
doxed you.
Pearl River, Louisiana. There's a Pearl
Oh,
River, Louisiana.
Louisiana. That's right. That's right. Louisiana. I can tell the accent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Born on this day in 1940, Phil Lesh.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The Lesh Man.
Yes. Great bass.
Founding member and bassist of Grateful Dead, whose Tupelo train bullshit song sucked. Whatever the name of the fucking song.
Box of Rain. It's my favorite Dead song.
Okay. Born on this day in 1931, who's DJ Fontana?
He was the drummer for Elvis.
Look at this motherfucker. Enough of that.
I thought he was
Look
a
at
DJ.
that. Lou finishing strong. And finally, born in this day in 1912, Sam Lightning Hopkins.
Ah.
And it happened.
Yeah. There you go. And that's it, gentlemen. 2.5 hours.
We did it.
I knew it. I knew it was going to go long. I knew it was going to go long.
This was the apocalypse now of your shows.
This is the pot do.
I pulled the Martin Sheen there for a bit.
There's a severed head somewhere.
Yeah.
Did
I'm
we kill
never
a
leaving
cow?
the studio. I'm fucking never leaving the studio again. I leave the studio. I'm fucking tired. I'm never leaving the studio.
Don't get off the boat. Never get off the
Don't
boat.
get out of the studio. I'm not getting out of the studio. I'm not fucking leaving the studio.
I don't see any method at all, sir.
All right, we're gonna start quoting this movie now. We'll start working on a movie podcast. Let's kind of kick it around. We'll kick it around.
I started watching.
I don't know if it's gonna be 2 hours worth of movie post, but we could see. We'll see. You never know. Never know.
Every movie's fabulous with me. Every movie's fabulous, right, Lou? It's great. It's great.
Gentlemen, once again, I thank you for your presence. I thank you for your attendance. I thank you for your knowledge. I thank you for your input, for your sense of humor. Lou's fucking Michael McDonald imitation and his fucking backdrop fuck up and all that mock with wine coming out of his nose. It's a great fucking show. Great show. Great show. And everybody, I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you like it, share it. If you didn't like it, thanks for listening this long. You really didn't like it. And you really didn't like it. And as I always say, without you guys watching and listening, it would just be me and you're the engine that runs this machine. Without you, I'd be talking to these guys, which is fun anyways. And doing this show for you, and I did this last week over the phone. But we got it in thanks to you guys. But we got it in. Doing this show for you guys. To quote my favorite artist, Morrissey, the pleasure, the privilege is mine. I'm fucking running out of gas here. I'm starting to stumble my words. I'm starting to stutter my words here. And that's it. Next week we will be back. Mark and what's the other guy's name, Mark?
Michael McDonald.
Mark
it's
and Michael McDonald.
It's McDonald Michael.
John will be there.
John will be there.
I wonder how many people even listen this far into the show to get this joke.
It's like 3 a.m. on the Jerry Lewis telethon. You know?
This is going a long way. This is 2.5 hours to get to this joke. Mark and Michael McDonald will be here next week. And we'll be talking. I didn't even get to the fucking those last live performances. We never got
We've
to it.
been dragging out for a month now.
That list is endless.
It
It's
won't go away.
endless.
It won't
This,
stop.
this might turn into a running joke itself. The list that never ends. We never get to it. And actually, we were talking about the music of 1979. Anyways, all right, gentlemen, thank you for your time. Again, I am always grateful. This is always a blast. And I will talk to you guys, I'm sure, during the week, one way or another.
It's like therapy.
It's like therapia. That's right. Therapia. And everybody, we'll see you next week.